throughout the field.
Well, I think from the Derry point of view, one of the problems with Kerry is that they've only really got one attack plan, and it's to give a nice ball into the chests of their inside forwards. So Derry's cornerbacks traditionally play in front. No plan with Kerry, they don't have a bomber listen there anymore, and with McCusker at fullback on O'Canadian won't be able to exploit McCusker's sort of perceived lack of pace, and we'd be relatively confident that if we can do a good job in there and stifle them out the field, that one of the problems that Kerry have had over the last 2 years is if it's been really put up to them defensively. And the Ulster formation, like Tyrone last year, Armagh before, the year before, putting it up to them in their face, defending in numbers and very, very tenaciously. And Kerry have broken down under that. Now, I think that Derry aren't at the level that Tyrone and Armagh are at, but nonetheless, they've shown in all of their games to date that they can defend ferociously. And if we do that, it might make life very interesting indeed, because I sense that Kerry's confidence is brittle. And has been.
Okay, gentlemen, at this stage we're going to hear from some of those involved directly in this afternoon's big match. Now, during the week, the Sunday game spoke to Derry's long-serving fullback Sean Marty Lockhart and to Kerry goalkeeper Dermot Murphy.
I was delighted to get my chance, really. You know, I was on the panel for a number of years before that, and you know, it was great to be finally getting our chance to, you know, stake a claim to the #1 jersey. And you know, it's been going well enough so far. Like when Declan was there, you know, I learned a lot from watching him over the last couple of years, because he was very professional in his approach to the game, and even the way he played the game. You know, I learned a lot from watching him there as well, and his preparation for the game was outstanding as well. Like, so it was very informative for me to be watching him when he was in action. When we were young fellas, we were in Kerry and Dublin, like watching the games and going to the games, like, and to take part in one of those as well. I was a sub in 2001 when Morris kicked the ball over the bar from the sideline. You know, so there's a great tradition going back down the years between Kerry and Dublin, and it was fantastic to be involved in it. Really, it was great, and it was obviously our aim was to win the game. We did that, like, maybe looking back in it, maybe there was room for improvement after the game, all right, but to be playing Croke Park in front of a full house like that, it was fantastic, and it was even better than when you win the game. Derry are a very strong team. They've played excellent football down the last couple of games. They beat Limerick there, and they beat Westmeath as well. Like, we know ourselves how hard it is to beat Limerick. We've had enough experience with them this year, and Westmeath were many people's fancy to win the All-Ireland this year. Like, so they're a very direct team as well in their style of play, and they've got a very high work rate going throughout their team as well. And they play to their strengths. And they'll be a very tough challenge for us on Sunday. It's 4 years now since Kerry were since they last won the All-Ireland in 2002. We made the final and were beaten by a point, and you know, a lot of people were saying we left it after us on the day. To be honest, we were beaten by the better team on the day, and you know, we couldn't have any complaints about it. But at the same time, it kind of rankers with us really that, you know, maybe that we could have won the game on the day. Last year things didn't go great for us either. We got hammered by Tyrone in the All-Ireland semi-final. You know, they really beat us well that day. We are very hungry and very ambitious to get back into the final this year, because it means a lot to everybody involved in the panel, and to Jack and to the selectors as well. There definitely is the hunger in the panel really, that we want to go all the way this year.
We got a lot of justified criticism because we didn't do the county crowd, or we didn't do ourselves justice, you know, against the Tyrone. But there's a lot of unjustified criticism throughout the media, and again, like, you know, Mickey didn't deserve a lot of the stick he got, you know, but we're up there to be knocked, and if we play bad, we're going to get a criticism, so we've got to take that. It hurt players deep down. We have a lot of players in our group are very, very proud, you know, and players took a really good look at ourselves. We were grouped together and we said what we do from here on, like, you know, so we've got the luck of the draw, and we've got 3 or 4 games back to back there, so we've come on a long way from a Tyrone game, you know. Leading up to the Westmeath game, the media hype was that Derry were going to crack under pressure. There's a lot of young boys in the team, won't be able to handle Croke Park for the first time this year. It was a big experience for a lot of, especially younger guys. Like, we had maybe 6 or 7 like so-called older fellas around 24 upwards, like, and the rest around 20, 21 years of age. But they handled the pressure well. Westmeath had played in Croke Park, I think, 3 or 4 times during the course of the year, so that stood them a big advantage. But again, it's another pitch, and it's all about the performance. And if you can shut out the crowd in Croke Park and concentrate on your performance, like, you will do well. Kerry are the Brazil of Gaelic football. Flamboyant, can play unbelievable football. They're Munster champions, they're National League champions, and they're going to be an unbelievable hard team to beat now this Sunday. we've got to set out our stall and try and compete against Kerry in all areas of the field. Hopefully we get a bit of luck on the day. This is my third semi-final in the last 10 years, and Galway have beat us in their last two. We're coming up against probably the best football side in the country at the minute. To beat Kerry on Sunday would be an unbelievable experience to get the final, not just for the team but probably for the whole county. It would give the whole county a lift, because we're always living in the shadows of the 93 team, and everybody's comparing us to the Downies and the Tohals and the Gilligans and the Keevers. So until we achieve that goal that they've achieved, we'll always be looked upon as a lesser team.
Well, Sean Marty has won the toss. Derry will play into Hill 16 in the first half. All of that will be after this commercial break as the fans look forward to the big match.
We've come up this year after Tyrone, really confident and just come and do it this year. Kerry, K. I think it's going to go very well for the day. I think there's something very special about the day this year. I think John Marsh and Mickey Moore's done extremely well, especially after the Tyrone game, you know.
Well, I was confident, Kerry. I was confident.
Away from the throw-in in this second football semi-final. As you can see, the teams are in the parade. Colin O'Rourke, your final prediction on this one?
Well, I think it all points to Kerry. You know, there's been question marks, and Joe has said about their confidence being brittle, but I don't think any Kerry man lacks bottle. I think they've been through a rough time. If they wanted an Ulster team to play in a semi-final, they've avoided Tyrone and Armagh. They've got the team probably they want. I think they've a bit too much class. Derry are well prepared, but I think Kerry have a bit more class on the pitch and possibly on the bench as well if they have to bring on Mike Frank Russell and John Crowley and Sean O'Sullivan. I think they're just better equipped all round.
The little shower has gone. We're happy to say the sun is shining. Will the sun be shining on Derry this evening, Joe?
Well, the most pleasing thing about this team has been their refusal to accept defeat and their absolute passion and commitment to the cause since the Cavan game, and it's been shown in every game since then. I mean, the work rate to the breaking ball, I mean, it took Westmeath 30 minutes to win a break ball around the middle of the field. If Derry work like that and hold it tight until half-time, I think that the game could open up for us. I mean, I think that Derry can win this game.
Your commentators are Tony Davis and Ger Canning.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Well, the experts by and large are going for Kerry. Tony, what do Derry have to do here to stay nice and close with them all the way for the 70 minutes?
I think the lads said that they have to work hard like they did so far. Get the ball into Paddy Bradley and Enda Muldoon as quickly as possible. Paddy Bradley has scored 2.32 in the championship. Enda Muldoon has scored 2.23. That's a huge total. They'll have to get the ball in as early as possible, crowd midfield and close down Colm Cooper and Declan O'Sullivan in the forward line.
Okay, well, the teams have gone into their huddles, as you can see, and we're ready for the team selections. Mickey Moore and his selectors have resisted any impulse they may have had to change and announced the same starting 15 as that which began against Westmeath. Conleth Moran continues at left half forward, and his clubmate Johnny Bradley remains at top of the right. Francis McEldowney has recovered sufficiently from a back injury. He starts as usual at wing half back. And lots of support. Well, we saw Derry. Now the Kerry management are not slow about making changes in their pursuit of the ultimate goal. Two changes today, starting with the selection of William Kirby in midfield in place of Paddy Kelly, and Liam Hassett coming into the forward line at the expense of Mike Frank Russell. So you heard earlier that Derry have won the toss. Referee today is Brian White. He was in charge for Derry's opening match against Tyrone. He was also in charge of Kerry versus Cork, so they both have experience of Brian's refereeing this year. And it is going to be Derry who will play from right to left, wind supported for the opening 35 minutes. Tony Davis alongside me is having a right good look around here to see any switches or changes, as it is Derry who launched the first attack with Patsy Bradley going way down beyond his namesake Johnny that time, down towards Muldoon. Back there marking him, I've noticed, is Mark O'Shea. So that's the first of the changes I've noticed in the Kerry formation. There is Mark O'Shea, battling away to try and win possession cleanly. Aidan O'Mahony now pursued by Conleth Moran. Pushed up time by Fergal Doherty. Just restrained. Referee says play away. Dara O'Shea does so. Trying to bustle his way through. Trying to establish mastery over Derry this time. Unlike last year when Tyrone really established the early mastery and got the scores. That's a great opening point by Dara O'Shea. What a contrast between this year and last.
Yes, and what a contrast between this game and all the rest of the games Kerry have played so far this year. A terrific start by one of the main players of the last few years, Dara O'Shea, and it's vital for Kerry to have him going at it as anywhere near he was going over the last few years at midfield.
Because there was a concern in recent times that Dara was playing very, very deep, almost back around his own half-back line, sometimes between half-back and full-back. In midfield, Derry trying to get some clean possession, do so through Paul McFlynn. Now on for Johnny McBride from loop. Angle towards the corner here. Paddy Bradley racing across for it. Getting it inside and taking it back. Nice little 1-2 for Bradley. Looking for an equaliser. Easy one for Diarmuid Murphy. Out towards his centre half back, who is Eamon Fitzmaurice. Up towards Paul Galvin. Again, nice fluent movement with William Kirby. Breaks down, however. And it's Francis McEldowney from Slough getting it downfield. Johnny McBride putting in the challenge there. Free kick awarded to Kerry. And once again, it's Dara O'Shea, who's looked very businesslike and purposeful in the opening couple of minutes. Colin Cooper now running into the challenge of Niall McCusker. And the referee says you held on too long, Gooch. Free out.
Again, Gerard, at the other side of the field, you have the whole Derry full forward line and the whole Kerry full back line in the small square. All they're doing is waiting for the break, the long ball in.
Yes, it's out of picture right now. It's a good point because you're right in front of the Kerry goal map. Three Derry forwards rather, and three Kerry backs. Tomas O'Shea now preparing to take this sideline ball. Claimed well here by the cornerback, who's Kevin McGuckin. Patsy Bradley. Paul McFlynn now, one of the loop players, taking it back from his clubmate. Back to McBride again. Belted in with the left. Good lengthy delivery. It's a huge one in. But Paddy Bradley trying to make an angle for himself. Back towards Muldoon. Looking to tie it up, and Enda Muldoon has done it. Great kick by Muldoon. Wonderful interplay between the two main target men for Derry, Paddy Bradley and Enda Muldoon. First time the questions have been asked of the Kerry full-back line, and this is how they were in serious trouble. Drawn this way and that. First of all, it was Tom O'Sullivan drawn out, then the release to Muldoon, and a good equaliser. Battling away in the centre there was Owen Brosnan. Comes away to Padraig Kelly. Challenge there by Hassett. Release to Paul McFlynn. Again, sending that searching ball down towards the corner. Won by Mike McCarthy. Out again to Tomas O'Shea. Into midfield, it's William Kirby now. About to be challenged by Patsy Bradley. Nothing really came of the challenge, however. In towards Declan O'Sullivan. Breaks towards Colin Cooper. Colin Cooper is going through, but he wasn't allowed an advantage, and he's very, very annoyed about that. And you can understand the frustration he's experiencing, because he had managed to get through beyond Francis McEldowney. But it's going to be a free kick. They'll probably score from here if Dara O'Kinada is in the best of form. Dara O'Kinada, of course, is the Kerry captain. He's led them well this year, scored 2 goals and 16 points so far. And that has gone left, so the advantage never came to Kerry, and it remains at a point apiece. Well, that is the frustration that forward players sometimes feel. This is what we were talking about earlier on. This is where the Derry forwards have assembled, the three of them, right in front of the Kerry goal. At a particular moment, they will split apart and create space and uncertainty among the backs. That is the hope. Francis McEldowney belting it way down towards Paddy Bradley. Spills away loose once again. Going in there was Conleth Moran. Pressure on him this afternoon, and Johnny Bradley. Comes back here towards Tom O'Sullivan. And again, nice, calm, composed play by Mark O'Shea from Onhveltucht. Getting it out to the cornerback, Aidan O'Mahony.
Yes, I think, John, Kerry have the best players to counteract system inside. What you got to do in that system is be brave and play from in front. The only thing that can counteract is the high ball into the square to Ilda Muldoon.
It's Galvin taking on McEldowney. Huge one in. Great ball to O'Sullivan. He breaks it down, couldn't contain it. And Niall McCusker manages to spoon it out as far as Kevin McGuckin. Good covering by Derry. Close call, however. Declan O'Sullivan just couldn't catch that ball as it was fed in. It was a great early ball into him. Touched there by Muldoon. Got away with it. Got back as far as Conleth Moran. Outside the exclusion zone, he was tackled. Kerry there in numbers, and it's Mike McCarthy feeding it outside to William Kirby. Away as far as Paul Galvin. And he was wrestled back unfairly by Francis McEldowney. Nothing terribly serious about it, but sufficient to award a free kick to Kerry. Another huge punt ahead here by Colm Cooper. Great long kicked passes by players from both teams, using the full extent of the pitch as Darragh O'Shea was going to double his score for the day. It ends up being Kerry's second wide. Still a point apiece, but Darragh is being much more adventurous in this game than we've seen in earlier championship matches, and the man who should be going with him is number 9, Patsy Bradley.
Yes, he is. The one thing I see so far, Joe, is the high ball into the Kerry full forward line again. Declan O'Sullivan and Gooch want low ball in front of him.
Barry Gillis, the Derry goalkeeper, making good headway. Kicked back in there by Owen Brosnan, angling it over Cooper again. As Tony was saying, not the best quality of ball, and Sean Marty Lockhart able to hoover that one up. Paul McFlynn, back once again it comes. McFlynn always looks a very elegant player. Not the best of passes because his own man was in real difficulty there. That's James Donaghy. Real tear away forward here. That is Tomas O'Shea up with the attack. Remember the goal he got against Limerick? That was a great block there. Wonderful play by Niall McCusker. Great movement by Tomas O'Shea. Well, he ran a fair old distance here with that ball. And a very timely challenge at the end of all of that by Niall McCusker from Ballinderry.
Yeah, he's having a terrific year. Both Mark and Tomas are playing terrific so far this year. Darragh was the lesser of the O'Sheas so far this year in the championship, but he'd play anywhere. He'd play midfield if they were stuck. He's a terrific footballer.
Mickey Moran has done a magnificent job since that awful day when they lost to Tyrone by 11 points in Clonus on the 9th of May. At that stage, you wouldn't have given too much for their chances of getting as far as the semi-final of the All-Ireland. They're here, and both these sides just 17 minutes away from a meeting with Mayo. Darragh O'Kineda gets it right this time from the 45-metre kick over the bar, and Kerry lead. Pretty good Kerry and Derry support here this afternoon. Not as packed as it was yesterday afternoon when Mayo and Fermanagh really brought the throngs on a Saturday afternoon to Croke Park. Great support. Still, it's not bad. James Donaghy rising up for a break. Sit down, however, as far as Paul Galvin. Back once again to Tomas O'Shea. Mopping up a lot of loose ball. Pressure on the full back line. McCusker drops it to Colm Cooper. On the left boot, looking for a point. He's got it. Good score by Colm Cooper. Mistake by Derry's fullback Niall McCusker to allow him the opportunity. Cooper is playing really well, not showing any ill effects of the injury that dogged him in the weeks leading up to this game.
He knew exactly what he was at, sure. He was just waiting for the break. As soon as the ball was kicked in high, he went in front, because most balls do break forward. mopped it up and on the left leg straight over the bar.
Again, the battle in midfield is won with breaking ball going to Padraig Kelly. Scored a late goal for Derry in that match against Tyrone in the Ulster Championship. Too many steps taken, and it's going to be a free out for Kerry. There were options inside for Kelly had he been able to look up and release the ball quicker.
That's why Liam Hassett is in here today, Ger. Himself and Galvin working back.
Defensive half-forwards they've been called in some articles I've been reading. That's Francis McEldowney going out over the line there, but the referee, I think, felt it was a push. Let's watch this again here. McEldowney was there with Tomas O'Shea, and it ends up being free for Derry, which McFlynn took. Getting it back from Johnny McBride, feeding it back to the number 11 once again. Former Derry under-21 captain. Nicely back for James Donaghy. Going for the point himself, but that's going left. Didn't look terribly confident, which has been one of the problems he's had over the years playing with Derry. He's been there for the last 2 or 3 years, James Donaghy. He's a very good footballer, but self-belief is needed on an occasion like this. Patsy Bradley, great take by the under-21 star. Not a good pass, gave it straight to Galvin. William Kirby now for Dara O'Shea, and the referee saw an off-the-ball holding violation there. It's by Sean Marty Lockhart, and the player he was holding was Declan O'Sullivan. Free in.
Yeah, that was well spotted by Brian White. All backs do what we call is a half foul in the game just before the ball is thrown in. If the player is running off, you catch a jersey, let him go again. The referee normally doesn't see it, you get away with it, but well spotted by Brian White.
Colin Cooper to kick with the left. It'll suit him. Breeze into his face. Inside the right-hand post, it gets an okay from the umpire. A white flag, and it's Cooper's second point. 4-1 now for Derry. Cooper has had 2 shots at the target, and he's got 2 points. Well, here again, the Derry forwards lining up there in front of the Kerry goal. The ball is a long way back on their own 20-metre line. And they're so dependent on Bradley and Muldoon, have been in this championship. If Kerry can keep the ball away from that danger area, then they should be able to exert a fair old control in this game. Taking it forward again is Aidan O'Mahony. Playing it back to Dara O'Shea. Plenty of options. O'Sullivan, he's such a clever player. Missed part of the season through injury. Great underage player. Renowned scorer. Back from O'Kinade to Dara O'Shea. Outside of the boot, drops in. Dangerously in there. Taken by Sean Marty Lockhart. Great release outside for James Donaghy. He's a long way back, however, from his forwards. Has to carry. Players are making a move ahead of him. Goes deep towards Muldoon. Muldoon does well against Mike McCarthy. He's about 20 metres out. Loses it. Regains control. It's a shot. It's a goal! End of Muldoon! In the 14th minute. Well, there's been a belief among Derry fans that if they were going to win this one, they would have to score goals. This is number 1, and the defence was all over the place. So those who said, if you take on the Kerry full back line, you can cause problems, Derry would seem to have given us a fair view on that assertion, a positive view indeed. Will that turn the game around Derry's way? Long way to go. Padraig Kelly kicking it. Now can they stamp some authority on it? Paddy Bradley again taking on Tom O'Sullivan, one of the renowned markers for Kerry. Up against Bradley. Inside for McBride, taking the return, but he's 45 metres out. Swings it to the right.
What a goal by Muldoon, absolutely terrific goal. Made it all himself actually, because he had 3 markers to beat. And we know what he's like so far this year, Ger. When he gets a chance, he finishes it well.
You remember that goal in the quarter-final? Now, looking at it at the time, I said he's going to put it over the bar. Most forwards would, but maybe that's the difference between good and great. Donaghy there was scooping of the ball on the ground. It's done by Tomás O'Shea, and for that ball handling error it's going to be a free in for Derry. Waiting for the kicker to come out, it's going to be Paddy Bradley from Glenullen, Dermot McNichol's club, great player of the 1980s. So an important kick then for Paddy Bradley from about 30 metres out, and Derry lead for the first time in the match. Well, that will do their confidence the world of good. And they have to be buoyed up for this tie now, but they have the win behind them. And looking at some flags before the game, it's very definitely swirling down from the canal end towards Hill 16. Break on here with Owen Brosnan, powerfully built man, inside for O'Sullivan. Trying to worm his way past McEldowney, released outside, and it's taken away brilliantly by Pádraig Kelly. On for Paul McFlynn, belted away into clear space, and the rangy James Donaghy is after it. Ready to take on his man, who is Tomás O'Shea. In towards Muldoon, broken down here towards Johnny Bradley. They'll take great heart from this spell in the game when they're doing well. They need scores, it's a great block down. And look who's back there, it's O'Mahony. Once again it comes back towards Conleth Moran. Now Johnny McBride, Derry leading by just a point. Comes back to Johnny Bradley, and that's right into the building site that is Hill 16, which will be well populated in 2 weeks' time for the hurling final. But watch this again here now. This movement involving O'Sullivan, it was intended as a layoff pass for Colm Cooper. Great interception. Broken down again, and once more it's centre half back Paul McFlynn. Now Pádraig Kelly. The half backline of Derry have suddenly taken over. Muldoon's in after this, and he swept it well and put it over the bar. Paddy Bradley rather. A second point for Paddy Bradley. And all of that came from the grip that the half backline of Derry have begun to establish on the game, and Bradley took it in one sweeping movement and kicked it over. 1-3 to 4 points.
And again a high ball into the full back line. Tom O'Sullivan couldn't deal with it. Went in and took a great score with his right leg.
Well, Derry are showing that they're not going to be pushed around in this game. They've come fighting, believing in themselves, and they want to do what Ulster teams have done in recent years in major matches against Kerry. Dara O'Shea leading the attack, nicely fed inside towards Cooper. Strong tackle coming in from his man there, Niall McCusker. Cooper slightly off balance, easily one for Barry Gillis to take. He's away out, 45 metres out. Back you go, Barry, quickly. I'm sure the Derry fans are saying. On from Johnny McBride as far as Francis McEldowney. Huge one in, broken once again. It was Bradley once more who was the target. Couldn't receive, Tomás O'Shea instead. Looking around, couple of Kerry players marking, completely missing from a Derry point of view, and out comes Eamon Fitzmaurice. There's a Kerry player on the ground, it looks to be Dara O'Shea, down to 14 for just now. Hassett's slipping, so many players are slipping on the surface this year. In comes Fitzmaurice. Once again it's Cooper, feeding it across nicely. Still Dara O'Shea's down injured and there's a concern about him. Out comes Aidan O'Mahony from corner back to kick, but to drive it to the left. 2 points the margin still, and there is Dara O'Shea, and there's going to be real worry now about Dara, whether he can continue or not. It appears to be the ankle. He started the game brilliantly. Well, the right ankle is causing the problem. Everybody is concerned about the Kerry midfielder. Well, he wants to continue. Can he shake off the effects of that? Watch it again here now. We may just see what happened to him. Tackled by Johnny McBride. Just came down awkwardly.
Yeah, I'd say he'll be able to run it off, Jared, if he's up walking around like that. But what a comeback by Derry after a slow start. They're playing good football now and getting the ball directly into their full forward line.
But it's also reminded the Kerry half forwards, Liam Hassett and Paul Galvin, to continue with the attacking. They're tracking back again, chasing after James Donaghy. Released outside to Johnny McBride. Scoring chance for McBride, and he's missed it. Well, you remember how last Sunday and maybe even yesterday, Fermanagh brewed a lot of chances. Dara O'Shea is going off. Bad news for Kerry. He's trying to make his way off as we continue with the play here. Mike McCarthy trying to get the ball forward. But Dara O'Shea is having to leave the field. Whether that's a permanent thing or not, we'll just have to wait and see. Might get some word from the sideline afterwards.
He doesn't look comfortable, Joe. And they have Paddy Kelly warming up, the guy that played midfield the last day.
Paddy Kelly from Ballylongford in North Kerry. Mike Frank is also coming down. They're bringing down a couple of substitutes at this stage just to warm up. Brendan Guiney's also there. Just wait and see what they do. They could put Owen Brosnan to midfield. That's one possibility. In place of Dara O'Shea, who clearly is in distress here with that right ankle. Well, I wonder if Marty Morrissey, who's our reporter on the sideline, got some news for us. Marty?
Yes, indeed, Chair, and you're dead right. Owen Brosnan is going to midfield. Declan O'Sullivan is going to move out to the half-forward line, and Mike Frank Russell is in. And there is serious concern about Dara's ankle, and it was involving a collision with Johnny McBride.
Thank you, Marty. Well, the pressure once again is on the Derry backs. A restructured Kerry attack then, and with Mike Frank in, playing his 39th championship match this afternoon for the Kingdom. But it's the appetite of Derry which is most noteworthy in the 22 minutes of the contest so far. They really are up for it. But Patsy Bradley kicking it in here. Can they finish? This time it's a great catch taken by Tom O'Sullivan. Those earlier wides there, we were concerned about Dara O'Shea at the time, but those earlier wides reminded me of Fermanagh last week kicking the match away. And could Derry do something similar this afternoon? 4 wides so far for Derry. That's the tally. Here comes Mark O'Shea. Always looks a very elegant performer. Stopping and then taking on James Donaghy. Release back once again here towards William Kirby. Oof, taken away from Sean Marty, but there's recovery support there. Reinforcements in the form of Kevin McGuckin. From the famous McGuckins of Ballinderry fame. Mike Frank being welcomed to the game. And there's a ticking from Mike Frank from the referee for that. Paul McFlynn taking the free kick, not a good one, comes straight to Owen Brosnan now at midfield. Fisted ahead by O'Shea once again. It was intended for Declan O'Sullivan, but it's Paul McFlynn who gets it back towards Conor Lethmoran, who's a son, of course, of Mickey, the team manager. McFlynn trying to bring order to Derry's play here. Paul Rick Kelly. Oh, he's lost it in a dither there that time against Liam Hassett. Comes out from McEldowney, back to McFlynn, and after all of that passing, which was really going nowhere, they try to get it down to the forwards, and scrambling there was Johnny Bradley. Mark O'Shea wins it back for the Kingdom. Nicely forward here for Paul Galvin, ready to take on Francis McEldowney once again. It's Galvin in full flight, commanding, composed. Whoops, up to that point there, when there was a frontal tackle, which the referee didn't like too much. Paul McFlynn is the player. Referee pointing out to him that it's shoulder to shoulder, Paul. Didn't see a card, but there was certainly a ticking.
Yeah, Kerry are going through one of these phases again, Ger, that they've gone through every game they've played so far this year. They struggle for consistency right through. There you go, Paul Galvin coming up the field. Started that run in the half-back line, and he was stopped dead there. But they can't give away frees like that either, because they're, with Michael Frank on, he should just touch that over the bar, even though they're against the wind. And Kerry are struggling to find their inside forwards.
Well, during last year's semi-final involving Kerry and Tyrone, you may remember in the first half, Peter Canavan went down with an ankle injury and struggled for quite a while afterwards. I hope for Dara's sake that it's not as serious. Colin Cooper kicking this one high, but into the crowd and wide. And it remains at 1-3 to 4 points. The game has dipped in its intensity over the last 5 minutes. 10 minutes to the break. 4 wides now for Kerry. So man of the match, don't forget our competition as per ever, the RTE man of the match competition. 2 tickets to the Bank of Ireland All-Ireland final coming up on the 26th of September, and a night's accommodation in a Dublin hotel the night before the game. And you tell us who your man of the match is. Those are the numbers in the Republic and in Northern Ireland. Good luck to you. Back with Paddy Bradley, a huge one, and it's over the bar. Third point of the match for Paddy Bradley. Well, he's a wonderful footballer, Paddy Bradley. Still only 23 years of age, and a goal between them. Diarmuid Murphy, who you heard in the sequence before this match, has had to wait quite a long time to establish himself in this Kerry team. That's part of 9 years, in fact, but he's done it. Declan O'Sullivan is doing it right now. His team 3 points behind. Into the corner he was being taken. Nicely back here towards Owen Brosnan, like a tank going through. Nicely released towards Galvin, holds on to it, challenged by Doherty, blocked down well. McCusker's after it, fists it away from Darragh Kineda, comes out towards James Doherty and gets it away. Out once again to Niall McCusker. There were those who questioned his ability. Well, he's given them their answer in this particular display. Here with James Donaghy, way back foraging, not a good kick. Comes out only as far as Mike McCarthy, the fullback. Released into Declan O'Sullivan, pushed over some 25 metres out, free in for Kerry, and it should be a point. And for Paul McFlynn, it's proving quite frustrating.
One aspect I'm surprised of Kerry's performance so far, Mark O'Shea, Michael McCarthy and Eamon Fitzmaurice have pushed their way up the field, totally exposing their full back line inside. What you want as full backs is to keep the distance between the half back line and the full back line as tight as possible.
It's been 14 minutes since Kerry's last score. Colin Cooper ready to hit this one. Measures it nicely. Third point for Cooper. Well, that's one they needed, just to restore the bit of confidence, get the fans cheering again. Let's have a look at this once again here. That's a tackle going in there. Wonderful stuff. The final dispossession was by Niall McCusker. Barry Gillis enjoying his first season at this level, his 7th championship match today. Great catch by Fergal Doherty. Trying to make some headway, it's never easy. Johnny McBride wants to take the kick quickly and the referee allows it. Nicely in. Swung around there is Paddy Bradley. Now swinging around is Tomás O'Shea. Bradley down injured. Referee wants a word with Kerry's number 5. This looks like being a card for Tomás. First card of the match. This was the foul once again here as Bradley was dragged down.
I actually feel sorry for the Kerry full back line inside there because Tom Sullivan and Michael McCarthy and Mark O'Shea, they were totally exposed by their half-backs by going up the field. All Derry have to do is kick the ball when the run is made, and it's impossible for a cornerback to get out in front.
Well, it's an interesting observation that Tomás and Mark have this adventurous spirit and love to go forward, but you know, you're right, there is a huge gap. It's a very alarming gap if you're a Kerry fan, Tony. Bradley kicking, and it's off the post. Comes back here, and it is kicked wide James Donaghy there with that kick. So 1-4 to 5 points still. Again, when you look at the spread of scores for Derry, who are leading this match, only 2 scorers, as expected, Paddy Bradley and Enda Muldoon. And Kerry themselves need some more from their forwards. Will Mike Frank be their star today? Liam Hassett tearing through, stopped. Long line of Derry defenders out around the half-back line. Cooper feeding it in, taken by Dara O'Kaneda, beating the cover of McCusker, swinging it right, it's still there. Brosnan reaching up, doing well, using his strong frame. Athletic and strong. Nice ball inside here. Tomas O'Shea takes the shoulder, and look at the Derry players around him. Fergal Doherty trying to get it out. It's won back by William Kirby, belting it, and he belts it over the bar. Kirby is the scorer. First point of the match for William Kirby from the Austin Stacks Club in Tralee. When Derry were trying to clear their lines, it was suddenly a counter-offensive from Kerry, and it worked very effectively. Kirby, who got 2 points coming on as a sub last day against Dublin, has won his place back, having started in the championship much earlier in the summer. There's only a point in it. Derry still leading. 4 minutes and a little under remaining to go to half-time, but I'd imagine there'll be an extra 2 minutes at least added for the Dara O'Shea injury. Eamon Fitzmaurice. Released back from Kirby. It's Galvin who's powering his way forward again. Tracked by Francis McEldowney. Trying to step out of the challenge. That's a nice kick by Galvin, and the teams are level. Third time they've been level in the match. Paul Galvin comes up, kicks a beauty, takes on the responsibility. Always good for a point or two, but his work, his labour is quite intense during a game.
Yeah, it's the best game he's played so far for Kerry this year. I didn't think he was capable of doing something like that. What he's doing is working back very well. He took that like a real half forward.
Incidentally, in the restructure for Kerry, with Brosnan going to midfield, Declan O'Sullivan has gone on to the 40, which is probably his best position. It's come back to William Kirby again. All of a sudden, Kerry, having given Derry their chance to have moments of superiority, have suddenly taken over again. Fergal Doherty up against William Kirby. Referee has had a quick word there with Johnny Bradley. Foul after the ball was kicked, and it's a little ticking for Johnny from Glen. Meanwhile, Eamon Fitzmaurice ready to take this free on his own 65-metre line. Good deep one in. Again, Derry's back line. Coping well with it. Niall McCusker feeding it out towards the midfielder, Patsy Bradley. 3 Bradleys in the Derry team, Patsy, Johnny and Paddy. Time it's Owen Brosnan who's been spoken to, and not more than that, he's got a yellow card.
Yeah, he was a little unlucky, he slipped on the field and he kind of came down and hit against him. I don't think there was any malice whatsoever in it there. But again, Kerry are persisting and kicking a high ball into their full forward, and if I was marking any one of those, I'd love to see those balls coming in.
Johnny McBride pushed from behind there by Eamon Fitzmaurice. Paul McFlynn is ready to take the free. We're in the last minute of the first 35, first half. McFlynn with sides level. Fisted out there by Tom O'Sullivan. That's going to be Derry's ball. So a chance of another point or two for the teams with 3 added minutes to be played. So that's about 3.5 minutes left of the first half. Muldoon kicking, the goal scorer. Taking it back here. Useful kick. Will it go all the way? There's a man in the square. Free out to Kerry, which is quickly taken. They work it out nicely to Tomas O'Shea. Back towards William Kirby. Here's Declan O'Sullivan darting this way and that. Fergal Doherty is after him. Next man in to try and challenge is Paul McFlynn. Hefty shoulder there on William Kirby. Gets up and battles strongly. Muldoon is back in that sector of the field as well, as Derry pull the men backwards. Free to Kerry. Tomas O'Shea wants to take it. There's a couple of players down on the ground right now, one from each team. One of them is Aidan O'Mahony, cornerback for Kerry. Maybe Conleth Moran. It is Conleth Moran, in fact. So concern for both of those players. We're already in the stoppage time. Referee's had a word with his linesman to see whether he saw what was going on. Conleth Moran today playing in his 6th championship match. He was part of Derry's under-21 side. Aidan O'Mahony, only 23. The new man, as it were, to this level of competition this year, even though he's on the bench this time last summer when Kerry were going under to Tyrone. Marty, did you get a view of what happened there?
I did indeed, Chair. It was just the two boys, Conleth Moran and Aidan O'Mahony, who were running into position. Conleth Moran was chasing after O'Mahony, and they seemed to trip each other. They were fouling and jersey pulling, nothing malicious, and both of them collided and both got injured. And
both are getting yellow cards. So we've had 4 yellow cards in the match, 3 of them for Kerry players, and now Conleth Moran of Derry. Once again, it's Paul Galvin trying to skip by the attention of Francis McEldowney. Tomas O'Shea belting it from some distance. It's a great kick. Well, his adventurous spirit is paying off in the attack. They need him back also. This was a good pass by Galvin again to set up the scoring chance for Kerry's Tomas O'Shea, and that is over the bar, and Kerry lead by 8 points to 1-4. And interesting, Kerry have swung this game around because the last 4 shots they've had at the target have been 4 Kerry points. Pressure once again on the Derry backs, but the referee's whistle sounds for a push, and the foul is penalised with Paul McFlynn about to take the kick. 2.5 minutes of the injury time has been played. Paddy Bradley scrambling. Winning it there is Aidan O'Mahony. Again surrounded by Derry players. Spills out once more, this time to Mark O'Shea. Forward towards Declan O'Sullivan. Challenge coming in from Paul McFlynn has been ticked already, and the referee might like to have further words with him at this occasion. And I think he's warning him that it's going to be a card. So a yellow card for Paul McFlynn from Loop, who are the Derry and Ulster club champions from 2003. Liam Hassett elegantly in, beautiful ball for Mike McCarthy, back to Mike Frank Russell, off balance. He was challenged, was he being pushed indeed by Pádraig Kelly. The referee doesn't take any action. Kerry fans a bit annoyed by that. It's going to be a kick out instead for Derry.
Yeah, you're right, George. It should have been a free in because it was a clear push in the back. Good run again by Michael McCarthy up and flicking it back, but just as he was about to kick the ball, a push in the back and kicked it wide.
Into the centre, Patsy Bradley tried to take it down, but it drops to Liam Hassett, who've now had over nearly 4 minutes of added time played. Free taken very quickly. Nicely into space. Declan O'Sullivan once again trying to go by Paul McFlynn, restrained on the 20-metre line. Mike Frank, nice ball in. Galvin again, what a game he's playing. Bustling, but he loses it. A right combination of Derry players there. It's dropped by Kelly, picked up in the end by Niall McCusker. Again he's lost it. 20 metres out from the ball is handled on the ground, handled by Dara O'Kineda, and it's going to be a free out for Derry. Whirlwind stuff. 39 minutes gone in this opening half. Can't be much left. The referee is checking the watch. He might blow after this free kick here for Derry. This to be taken by Barry Gillis from Magherafelt. Kerry are edging the All-Ireland football semi-final by just a point. Lively stuff. It's gone in waves with Kerry the early leaders in that respect. Derry then dominant, getting a goal by Enda Muldoon after 14 minutes, and a good finish by Kerry again. Just a point between the teams here at Croke Park in the second of the Bank of Ireland football semi-finals, and the issue very much in doubt as to who will be facing Mayo in the 2002 All-Ireland football final. At half-time, it's Kerry 8 points, Derry 1 goal and 4. So let's go down and get some comment now. Go down to Marty Morrissey. Marty?
Thank you very much, Chair. Seamus Moynihan, pleased overall with that first half performance?
Yeah, we're happy, Marty, to be up a point anyway. I think we started quite well, but the middle of the second or first half, we just totally fell out of the game. Derry came at us, and the goal was a killer blow. But in fairness, we've rallied well, and now at the end we're up a point again. But Derry seem to be coming out of defence very easy, and we've seen to tighten up a small bit though at the latter part of the half. But we've an awful lot of work to do.
They seem to be using the long ball an awful lot. They're trying to expose your full back line.
Yeah, well, they're working it up to midfield and they're getting it in then, but the disappointing thing is that they're getting out to midfield, punching it all the way up, and there's no pressure being put on, so something that we'll have to look at, and if we can stop that, it will certainly make the job in the full back line much easier.
Seamus Moynihan, thank you very much. Let's go back to Michael Lester.
Marty Morrissey, thank you. So then Kerry are a point up at half-time to see who will play Mayo in this year's All-Ireland final. Colin O'Rourke and Joe Brawley here with me. Joe, Derry through the kitchen sink at Kerry in that first half. Maybe not a Belfast sink, a Derry sink for sure, and you're a point down.
Well, I mean, I think that the problem is that, Muldoon and Bradley have got all our scores, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're two marquee full forwards. There's no one like them around. The problem is that the ball isn't getting into them. Muldoon had the ball 4 times. A goal, a point, 1 layoff and 1 ball broke off him. The ball isn't going in. The half-forward line, truth be told, is non-existent. It's a problem we've had all year. Young Johnny Bradley at left corner forward, he's there as a ball winner. We don't need a ball winner. We need 2 or 3 lads who are natural forwards to kick the ball over the bar. Now, that's how we lost momentum. We got the goal, we got a point, but there was a 10-minute spell then when we didn't score, we didn't capitalise, and we need to take urgent action, because in every game when we've brought on these lads who can score, they've scored and we've gone on to win.
Would you go with that?
I would go. I think Derry are in trouble in their middle 3 lines. I think their half-forward line, as Joe said, has been very poor. Their kicking of the ball there has been poor. I think their half-back line is also poor, but I think the Derry full back line has played well. I thought McCusker would struggle badly. I think they have clamped down. Cooper hasn't done much, a couple of lovely touches. O'Cineda hasn't been in it. Frank Russell is on now. Kerry probably are happy enough, but they're without their 2 greatest leaders, Darragh O'Shea and Seamus Moynihan. It's a real test for their players for the second half. I think they have the advantage of whatever wind is coming, and they are playing the better football. They have more good footballers, so I think they should still win the game.
We'll talk more about this All-Ireland semi-final after the break. Stay with us. Kerry lead by a point then against Derry at half-time in this All-Ireland. Kerry lead by a point then against Derry at half-time in this All-Ireland semi-final. 8 points to Derry's 1-4. The goal for Derry was a tonic in the first half, because just to settle them into the match and give them 3 points as well, mind you.
And also put a spanner in the works for Kerry. They're coasting along, and then the first ball that Muldoon gets, he works a situation out of nothing. He's got some incredible, to me he's the most natural Gaelic footballer Derry has ever produced. He gets the right hand to it. They tie him up, or they think they've tied him up. He can kick with his left or his right. He miraculously gets it back up, and then the presence of mind, the natural skill, the natural football machine. Problem is that once we went into the ascendancy, we got a point there after to go 1-4 to 4 points. You could sense in the stadium that Derry were in control and Kerry were rocking. We haven't moved the ball forward.
Beautiful skill there. Beautiful skill.
Yeah.
If Ronaldo wouldn't score a goal like that. He had that much to shoot at when he got it. And I don't know what he is, about size 18 feet. And he has the most deft touches for a man of that size, And he's great on balance and movement all round. It was a superb score, and what Derry needed to then was to be a bit more ruthless. They had Kerry sort of in a period there where they were lacking in that old confidence, and Derry failed to push home the initiative. They allowed Kerry to come back and get easy points.
And in fairness to them, their full back line is doing sterling work back there, working awful hard.
Yeah, but the problem is that a lot of the time when Derry got the ball, they then give it away very cheap. They give away a ball directly to Kirby for an easy point. They also give away another ball. I think it was Donaghy kicked it down the field. Kerry walked it back up for a point. The problem with Derry to an extent is they have no outlet, because you see here, tremendous work there in getting the ball, but there's so many players back in defence, there's nobody to give it out to. And if we ran that sequence on for another 10 seconds, Derry just kicked the ball away.
Yeah. I mean, we've got Gerard O'Kane sitting on the bench, who was the centre half back and imperious all through the run when they won the All-Ireland Minors, and he's been excellent when he's played this year. And, you know, for me, Paul McFlynn is causing a problem for us at centre half back. He hasn't the pace, someone else is having to come and pick up his man. He looks to me to be very tired today. Some days you're just exhausted, you're not able to get up the head of steam. Gerard O'Kane at centre half back, he's a terrific constructive player with vision. We need 2 or 3 of the natural forwards who have come on during the year and changed games. They're there, they're itching to get on. I mean, that's the problem. It's a simple problem, because Derry have got the capabilities to win this game.
They do, but I mean, Tony Davis was making the point earlier on in the afternoon when he was assessing today's game, and he talked about Kerry like jogging. Will they jog into the All-Ireland final? I mean, you know, there are times when they get the ball and they come sauntering up the field like Tomás O'Shea did, and kick the ball over, and it looks very simple when you do that.
Yeah, but part of the Kerry problem, when we were looking down on the Kerry full forward line, is they are not moving out in front. They're waiting, so the Kerry players coming up the field must carry.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. I'd say Jack O'Connor is going to be going mad with the lads inside, because Kerry are forced in this situation where they must carry the ball upfield and shoot from long range. I'd say Jack O'Connor would be tearing strips off the 3 boys inside, and he'd be telling them, get out in front, look for the ball, hunt for the ball over and back across the line, don't look for the easy ball in across the top.
Still nice, mind you, when you have a half-back kick a point like that for you, isn't it? Another commercial break to take. We're back after that. Welcome back again to Croke Park, half-time then in this... Welcome back again to Croke Park, half-time then in this senior semi-final between Kerry and Derry. A crowd of 35,457 have shown up at headquarters today for this match. And we have, who's that back out again? That's Kerry back out in the field. So, Colin O'Rourke, who do you fancy at this stage? Kerry point up?
I fancy Kerry. Kerry are the more natural footballers, but they're playing at a lazy enough pace. I think Derry are going to need to score a couple of goals to win. And they're, you know, they have the 2 or 3 men inside and they're kicking the ball in. It's a fairly, you know, direct tactic. Now, Kerry are not leaving a man in front to sweep. You know, basically they're saying, it's your job, you mark that man, you have no safety net, which is a good thing. And, you know, overall, you know, they haven't done badly. Derry 4 points. You know, that's a poor return for 35 minutes football. I think Derry have more problems. They should be bringing on subs. I think Kerry are in a happier position. I think they should drive on from here.
Will they make those changes, do you think, Derry?
Well, midfield's even. I mean, our full back line is locked up their dangerous full forward line. You know, the midfield is entirely even if you look at the breaking ball and the catching and all of that. This is where we need Mickey to be proactive. He needs to make the 3 substitutions. We have 2 half forwards and a corner forward. We have a centre half back.
Well, he's not going to make them all in one.
All of them are
so what's he going to do?
We need to rejig the format. This game could be won. There's no doubt that this game can be won by Derry, and I still feel there's a sense, you know, that Derry can win this game. Now, if, you know, the longer Mickey tarries, the longer we lose momentum, but we can definitely win this game.
Well, we have to see, Joe Brolly, if there's any new faces heading out in the field, or
I don't think so.
Heading towards the bench. Nothing strikes us immediately anyway, but let's go back again to Tony and to Ger and see what happens in that second half.
Yeah, we've been having a look as well, Michael, and no alterations made by Mickey Moran at half-time or by Kerry. And of course the major news from Kerry, if you've just joined, was that Darragh O'Shea went off with an ankle injury midway through the opening half. He's been replaced by Mike Frank Russell. It's a rejigged Kerry team then, with Owen Brosnan alongside William Kirby in midfield, and Declan O'Sullivan has gone on to the 40. Ready for the second half. Referee just checking with his officials to make sure that everything is in order. And we are ready to start. The fans are taking up every vantage point. 39,000 here yesterday, 35,500 here today. It's a good attendance for the 2 semi-finals. Now, who's going to get there against Mayo? Declan O'Sullivan starting prominently here against Fergal Doherty. He's forgotten the ball, however. Good dispossession. Patsy Bradley to Sean Marty Lockhart. They work it up with Conleth Moran. Now Sean Marty once again. Driven deep beyond Muldoon this time. Coming out to take it is Mark O'Shea. His brother Tomal's taking over. Paul Galvin. Good interchange towards Fitzmaurice. Now where's it going to end up? down towards Kirby once more. The two number 9s in action. On for Paul Galvin. Free running. He's got nobody near him. They're chasing after him. It's still Paul Galvin to pop a point here. And to kick it, however, he's kicked it wide. Bad miss by Galvin. Everything was good about the move. Worked all the way down from the half-back line. And he won't get a better chance than that. He's kicked a point in the first half. That's a bad mistake.
Yes, a bad wide jar. Kerry are playing with a strong wind in the second half. Should be of assistance to them.
Barry Gillis. Goal hasn't been under real threat so far. Galvin winning it back again for Brosnan to hit this one between the posts and over. Second attack of the second half for Kerry yields a score, and it's 9 points to 1-4, and it's Owen Brosnan's first point. Look at this great upper body strength, and that is high and over. And Derry are making a change, and Francis McEldowney is being withdrawn, and coming on is the man that Joe Brolly was talking about. It's Gerard O'Kane. He's come into the half-back line. Another Glenullen man joining the party. So what kind of difference will that make? That's going to be a free to Derry. Well, the remedial action was taken by Mickey Moreland 2 minutes into the second half. After those two swift attacks by Kerry, earned the Kingdom a point. Mike McCarthy here, hand passing it to his cornerback Aidan O'Mahony, showing strength and determination. Chasing after him is Conleth Moran. Back there to Liam Hassett. Big one, dropping deep. McCusker's under it, so too is Darrow Canada. It falls favourably for McCusker, however. Out towards Patsy Bradley. Quick look up to see who's making the runs into space. Johnny McBride. He had Fitzmaurice alongside him for company. Line ball, Mickey Moran then making the first of his substitutions. How many more will he make? Conleth Moran, his son there, kicking that one in, but only as far as Mike McCarthy. Comes back out here towards Declan O'Sullivan. Hassett controlling. Nice ball back for Kirby. Inside for Owen Brosnan. He's a strong man. Good pass, good vision. Kirby's up there. This is Mike Frank Russell. Close. Oh, they're all waiting for it. O'Kane left it behind there for Sean Marty Lockhart. And finally they work it out as far as Kevin McGuckin. That's Paul McFlynn. Yellow carded in the first half. Out here as far as Conleth Moran, holding off Aidan O'Mahony. Going forward was Gerard O'Kane. He's left it behind to Paul Galvin, who's working tirelessly, whatever about that last shot that he missed. Tomas O'Shea. Good ball out to Kirby. Again, there's good control being exercised by Kerry as they work it down to Tomas O'Shea again. And he's kicked another point. Great play by the wing-back. Two kicks at the target now by Tomas O'Shea from on Ghaeltacht. Agus Rachulín Fachta Aga. Anachulín Fad. Tomas O'Shea Tam Shin. Postas. And what a kick. And there is another substitution. Conleth Moran is being replaced by Gavin Donaghy. So we have a James Donaghy and we have Gavin Donaghy now in the action for Derry.
Yes, Jerry, Kerry are going through one of those phases they go through every now and again in the game where they dominate and finish well.
Early stage in the second half. That's Fergal Doherty there taking it down well. Released into the corner there, intended for Bradley. Has to struggle to take control of it. They're all chasing after him. Three Kerry men after him. The release outside to Johnny McBride. Out to the substitute, Gavin Donaghy. Still they hold it. Getting nothing lightly. James Donaghy now from 45 metres out, kicks to the left, and he's put it wide. There was enormous pressure there being exerted by the Kerry backs, and they certainly unsettled the Derry men. 10 points to 1-4, 3 between them. Kerry with the breeze. And Derry will be introducing another sub very shortly, we believe. They work it in towards Enda Muldoon. 40 metres out, swinging at this one, having had a right good look at it. Will it carry? Not quite. Dermot Murphy, great catching. He's got a really good pair of hands, a very commanding figure in the Kerry goal. Declan O'Sullivan taking it from the half-back line, getting support inevitably from Paul Galvin, the workaholic. Tomas O'Shea, some holding there by Paul McFlynn, who has to be careful because he's been yellow carded already. Nothing serious. Brian White issuing the instructions. Mickey Moran on the sideline down underneath us here, signalling his intentions to change the formation again. And James Donaghy is going off. Coming on is Eamon Burke.
Well, we'll see what kind of a difference he's going to make. Sure, he got a point when he came on the last day. I think they're playing all their trump cards at this stage now.
Strange that they have done all this changing inside the first 6.5 minutes of the second half.
Well, things were slipping away from Kerry starting well in the second half, and they had to change.
Tomas O'Shea. James Donaghy, by the way, is still in. It'll be Johnny Bradley who'll go out of the game. Just a little bit of confusion as to what they're planning to do. Mark O'Shea for Owen Brosnan. Nicely down for Dara O'Kinady. A quick little 1-2. Beautifully released to Mike Frank Russell, and it's over the bar. Great point from Mike Frank. Wonderful scorer, Mike Frank Russell. 112 this season, that's now 113. And you think about his tally in his career, 5 goals at 64 points. Derry changed their mind, and it's James Donaghy who stays on, and it's Johnny Bradley who comes off. So 13 off, 27 is on. That's the substitution. Running repairs then by Derry, because the Kingdom are taking command of this game. Aidan O'Mahony, jersey pulled, release once again. Brosnan nicely down for Gooch. Colm Cooper, 3 points in the first half, 2 of them from frees. Challenge there by Kevin McGuckin, trying to force him out. Nicely back for Mike Frank Russell, but the referee whistles for a push on Gooch Cooper, and it's going to be a free in for Kerry. Well, they are really tormenting the Derry backs in the opening 8-9 minutes of the second half. Well, I wonder, is there news about Dara O'Shea? Big concern for him among the Kerry followers. Marty, what's the latest?
Well, Chair, I spoke to Dara O'Shea. He's fine, he's okay. It's across his instep, no ligament problems. He says he's going to be okay, but Dr. Dave Keeney and the Kerry management team are insisting that he goes to hospital immediately after the game for an X-ray.
Thank you, Marty. And this is a free for Dara O'Kinada, and that is over the bar. 2 points for Dara O'Kinada, both of them coming from play spalls, but he's shown himself once again in this match to be a very good target man, causing concern in the second half for Niall McCusker. The last booking, by the way, in this match was for Gavin Donaghy, number 26. That's beautifully caught by Fergal Doherty. Oh, just a lapse in concentration there by Eamon Burke. He let the ball slip away from him, and it comes out and it slips from O'Mahony's grasp as well. Haven't had any mist or rain since before the match. One back here by Muldoon, holding onto it for dear life, wanting something, and the Kerry backs were very disciplined. They were forcing him into a possible overholding. Nothing came of it. Sideline. The man who's out there is the number 6, Paul McFlynn.
Paul Galvin's having a terrific game for Kerry at wing forward. He's working very, very hard up and down the field. Now, Derry have Sean Marty Lockhart marking, trying to cut down the influence he's having on the game.
Tomas O'Shea. Broken down again by Dara O'Kinada for Mike Frank Russell, for Colm Cooper, trying to systematically open up this Derry defence in the second half, taking on McGuckin onto his right boot. Saved by the goalkeeper Barry Gillis this time. Derry needing scores. They're falling away in this match. Porrick Kelly outside for one of the substitutes. That's Gavin Donaghy taking on Aidan O'Mahony. Donaghy belting it in there towards the two-man inside forward line, dropped by Paddy Bradley. And it's Tom O'Sullivan who's been dominant and assertive now, and all of a sudden it's the kingdom. Kirby back once again to Galvin, who's having a mighty match into space, as I say it. An aimless and shapeless shot, and that's given away to Derry rather cheaply. "12 points to 1-4. They're battling there with Gerard O'Kane, trying to get it out to Niall McCusker, but they're getting nothing lightly. The first line of defence for Kerry is number 15, indeed number 17 for Kerry, Mike Frank. But a break on here. Fergal Doherty shouldered well, gets up, fires it into the corner. They tried to command the situation, not easy. Eamon Burke was struggling to hold on to that one. Fergal Doherty driving it in deep, in towards the corner forward, but again it breaks out to Mark O'Shea, right across his own goalmouth area, chased there by Gavin Donaghy, and they get it as far as Liam Hassett. Now Mike McCarthy from Kilcommon, the club of the GAA president Sean Kelly, out as far as Gooch Cooper. Coming up to it again is Mike McCarthy. He's enjoying this roving role. Out again to Cooper, right into the corner from Mike Frank. Can he finish again here? He can. What a display of forward power in the second half by Kerry. Only 12 and a half minutes are gone and they're quite devastating. That's the second point for Mike Frank. And Derry are going to have to make more changes. That is some score watched again from the reverse angle. 13 points to 1-4. Is there any response?
That was a terrific score. Started in their full back line. Mike McCarthy worked it all the way out, and Gooch kind of said, "Here, have one, Michael Frank," and he kicks it over the bar with his left from 40 yards. Terrific score. Now Derry are really going to have to dig in at this stage, because Kerry are going through a purple patch and they're pulling away from it.
Well, Derry have introduced another substitute as we watch. I think it is Patsy Bradley down there with what looks like a nasty cut on the right eye there. But during that last break in play, Conleth Gilligan came in, and he came in place of James Donaghy. Derry haven't scored since the 27th minute of this game. Long time ago. 21 minutes of action gone, and no Derry score. Patsy Bradley, the youngster from Slough-Neil, 3 miles from Mahara, back on his feet again. Just have a look at this again. He came down, collided, got a cut. It's been treated. Derry have now used 4 of their 5 possible substitute options. Once again, it is Declan O'Sullivan trying to advance. That time's jerseyed, holding. Free into Kerry. And Derry are in disarray.
Yes, and Kerry are using the wind very well now. Inside in the Kerry square again, you have the 6 players inside the small square, and you have no other player up to the halfway line.
Well, by comparison, before this match, Derry came into the game having made 2 substitutions from their quarter-final lineup. Derry announced an unchanged team, unchanged at half-time. Since then, in 14 minutes, they have made 4 changes. Colm Cooper kicking with style and accuracy, and it's another one. Almost routine now for Gooch from the Dr. Croke's club in Killarney. Still an under-21 player, remember. Didn't play recently against Cork because of the hamstring trouble. That under-21 final won by Cork. The possession stat is interesting, really. It's dominated by Kerry. Coming out here is Kevin McGuckin. Conleth Gilligan there, just into the action. Paul McFlynn has been in from the start. 40 metres out now from the Kerry goal. Can they do something about it here with Gavin Donaghy? Changes were called for. The manager has responded now. How will the changes work out? Derry with only 2 scoring chances in this second half so far. Enda Muldoon, will he try and kick it over from here? He's gone for it. Now they're trying to keep it in, and Paddy Bradley could do nothing about it. It's a long, long time since the 27th minute of this match. That's when they got their last score.
A lot of that can be credited to the full backline for Kerry. They're being very brave. They're running early out in front, taking chances, and they're getting to the ball first.
People were questioning the Derry team at the start of the championship. They've done well to get to the semi-final, but right now they're finding a Kerry team in a totally different league. Don't forget the man of the match, tickets for the All-Ireland final, a night in a Dublin hotel, all of that. Pick out your man of the match from this contest, the second of the semi-finals, Kerry versus Derry, and if it agrees with our panel of judges, well, you might be the lucky one. Give us a buzz. And there is Eamon Fitzmaurice, who's got himself a yellow card in the 17th minute of the second half. Free kick to Paddy Bradley. Oh, it's gone horribly wide. All the flags in the background, all the cheering is by the Kerry fans. And there's going to be a 5th and final substitution by Derry, and it's Mark Lynch who's coming in for Johnny McBride. So that's their full hand. Seven points between the teams. And Derry looking for scores and looking for something, hoping maybe that Kerry will drop their intensity in this match, which is a bit of a tall order. Here they come with Mark Lynch. First touch. Could cause problems. Everybody in, great catch. Dermot Murphy does well, and Hassett is there to take it away to William Kirby. Great work by the goalkeeper. One of the best in the business this year, Dermot Murphy. Declan O'Sullivan. William Kirby again, getting it by Pádraig Kelly. He's gone down, and it'll be a free from where the ball has landed, which will be a good deal closer to the Derry goal. Watch this catch again. All eyes, concentration, everything you want in a goalkeeper. Enda Muldoon was close to him, but Murphy was superb.
Yes, they're looking to Enda Muldoon at this stage. Anytime he's around the square, you always have a chance of getting a goal.
Colin Cooper taking the free kick. Ryan McCusker is jumping for it. It breaks as far as the substitute, who is Gerard O'Kane. Fergal Doherty. Anthony Bradley recovered from the eye injury. Kicked forward towards Paddy Bradley, keeping a very close eye on him is Tom O'Sullivan. What a good job he has done. Never easy to keep tabs on Paddy Bradley. Great play by Tom O'Sullivan from Rathmore, a Garda based in Cork City. Colin Cooper.
Keep going, keep going.
Again, it's Declan O'Sullivan. Great running by Mike Frank Russell, takes up a good position. Cooper prepared to take on responsibility. No accuracy this time, but nice movement off the ball by some of the Kerry forwards. Classy play. And a very short kick out as Cooper's in trouble. We'll follow this one here with Paul Galvin kicking, and it's gone wide. But Colin Cooper down on the ground on the far side. And he really is in difficulty here.
Yeah, it's his hamstring again, Ger. I think the selectors will be looking at the All-Ireland final now in a few weeks' time, and they'll be whipping him off straight away.
Well, concerned people include the Kilcommon president of the GAA, Sean Kelly, alongside the Taoiseach. And the All-Ireland final is just 4 weeks away. So that will be, you're quite right, Tony, the major concern now. They have forwards who can come in and replace Colin Cooper. Touch of cramp. This is that kick just a moment ago there, and then he was breathing in agony immediately. Paddy Kelly, who came on against, well, not just came on, but started against Dublin, was replaced in that game by William Kirby. He looks to be the option, open to the Kerry selectors.
I'm sure if there's any doubt, they'll take him off straight away. They want to be risking him now at this stage, especially when they have other forwards on the sideline. Johnny Crowley, Declan Quill. They have so much talent on the sidelines, it's frightening.
Well, he's staying on. He still looks to be in a little bit of distress, but well, he's still there. Oh, what a catch! Great play by Patsy Bradley. He's one of the rising young stars, part of the Derry under-21 team that reached this year's Ulster final, beaten heavily that day by Armagh. And the referee, I think, might tell him to go off and get that eye injury dressed. Now, they've already used up their 5 substitutions.
Yes, Gordon, it's great to see the catch being rewarded. Nowadays, when you catch the ball, people get around you and it's nearly runs against you.
You very often get caught for holding on too long. You're right, and here comes Paddy Bradley. Between the Paddies and the Patsies, they get it into Paul McFlynn. That's a decent kick by Paul McFlynn, and it's over the bar. They have gone 30 minutes without scoring in the game, and they finally get a point, and it's 14 points to 1-5. They're looking for goals at this stage. This will do it for starters, as McFlynn got up to belt it over the bar. That's his 2nd point of this championship, 1st of the day. Dermot Murphy's kick, a huge one down, wind assisted, spilling around there. Ball handled on the ground by Derry's Fergal Doherty. Free kick to be taken by Liam Hassett, going tight for Fitzmaurice this time. Tomas O'Shea, who's come forward to get 2 great points. That's a nice ball down for Gooch. It cannons off the bar but goes over. Amazing quarter forward play there by Colm Cooper. He's got his 5th point. He might have been in some distress. Well, in fact, greater distress being felt right now by Kevin McGuckin, his marker.
He's a very good player, Jordan, like Kevin McGuckin. He's had a good game today on Gooch. Good marker, doesn't foul that easily.
I just wonder, it wasn't in fact his hamstring. If it was his hamstring, surely they wouldn't have taken a chance.
No, he probably cramped his, it looked like his calf cramped or something like that. If there was a doubt, Jerry, I can guarantee you he'd be off now at this stage.
Absolutely. Well, Cooper's attacking skills, 5 points out of 9 shots at the target today. And going off is Liam Hassett. Coming in is Paddy Kelly, a young player that they have a great deal of faith in. Off goes Liam Hassett, done his job for the day. Once again it is Derry with Paul McFlynn setting up the attack, which involves Mark Lynch. Suddenly a bit more energy and life in the attack with players like Lynch around. Comlet Gilligan, great ball in. Bradley is scrambling for it, has it, jersey pulled, and it's a free in. Good decision by the referee, I think, not to give any advantage that time, because there were a couple of players inside Bradley wearing Kerry shirts. Chance to pick off a point here easily. Bradley's got 3 points. This from just inside the 20-metre line. That's another. So 4 for the day, 2 of them from frees. 15 points to 1-6. So the margin between them is a total of 6 points. Goals needed. 10 minutes left. Goals for Derry. Consolidation required for Kerry. They've been much the better team. No question about that. Will they go on to win it and win it handsomely? Great catch there by Patsy Bradley. Some of the fielding in midfield by Derry in this game has been a treat by Bradley and Doherty. This is nicely done here. Eamon Burke had options, gets it back. Fed back once again to Conleth Gilligan. This is a good time to kick a point if he's able. It's going left. Keeper comes, another great catch by goalkeeper Dermot Murphy. Wonderful play by the Kerry number 1. And they work it out again towards Diarmuid O'Sullivan, or towards Declan O'Sullivan. Mike Frank Russell, lovely pass, crisply delivered in for Cooper, good hands, nice turn, great score. That's quite devastating, and Derry do not have an answer. There is no response to that brilliance. Sheer class on view here at Croke Park. This Kerry team, not alone today but in this championship, is going to take some beating. Look at the delivery. Whereas in the first half the balls coming in from the players further out the field was way up into the air. This time the passing among the forwards themselves is first class. Mark Lynch, now Padraig Kelly, challenged by Tomas O'Shea, force wide, still force wide, and the referee decides there was a punch and it's going to be a Kerry free kick, a restraining arm. Just about 8 minutes left in the match. Movement up front by Dara O'Kinada as Tomas O'Shea kicks it down long. Again, it's Colin Cooper. Sean Marty Lockhart doing his best to dispossess him. But Cooper is so difficult to handle.
He's a pure class footballer, Ger. That last score he got was pure silky, absolute street kids football, straight over the bar, and he's not afraid to work either. He won that ball, it wasn't even his ball, he won it well.
Dara O'Kinada is kicking with the breeze. He's about 50 metres out. Left there for Niall McCusker. Oh, out as far as O'Kinada again. Paddy Kelly, the substitute, kicking, but he's kicked it wide. It remains 16 points to 1-6. First 10 minutes of the second half really set the trend. Kerry were not going to be beaten as Brosnan has his jersey pulled. Free is quickly taken to Declan O'Sullivan. Back in once again towards Paddy Kelly. Well, he missed the last time, so he fancies his chances, and why not? Good point by Paddy Kelly. Good Kerry support here, enjoying that score. And another change is about to be made, this time by Kerry. William Kirby is going off. Tommy Griffin is coming on. He's the man who turned the game around against Limerick in Killarney. You were at that game?
Yeah, he's certainly not going to weaken their midfield. In fact, Derry have done very well at midfield in the last 10 minutes, and Tommy Griffin certainly isn't going to weaken it there. He's a terrific footballer.
Probably would have started against Dublin, but for an injury. Paul Galvin into Mike Frank Russell. Such good running by the Kerry inside forwards. They're all over the place. What a good catch again, this time by Dara O'Kinada. Well, Kerry have upped the class levels in this second half. And further weekend action, of course, on this final night of the Olympics. The Sunday game comes at the later time, 10:25. A review of this, a look ahead to the final, no doubt. And it's 10:25, Network 2. One Kerry man on that might be reasonably happy tonight. Lots of happy Kerry people around Croke Park. Tommy Griffin feeding it in here for Aidan O'Mahony. Outside to Cooper. Gooch with a long hand pass delivery for Declan O'Sullivan. Trying to round Sean Marty, does so. In on the end line, trying to finish it off, trying to walk it all the way in. Is he giving it? He is. Declan O'Sullivan. For a moment it looks like he was going to walk it all the way in.
He just nearly did, Joe. What a finish. He's a very strong runner on the ball. As you can see here, he takes on Sean Marty Lockhart. Hops the ball. I think he might have taken too many steps with it, but he finishes it well anyway. The goal stands.
It's also his first shot on the target, and a goal after 30 minutes of the second half in the 65th minute overall. start booking the tickets for the final. Conleth Gilligan, meanwhile, looking for a few more late scores for Derry. Taking on Fitzmaurice, who doesn't really put in much of a challenge, and Conleth Gilligan kicks it over the bar. Late score for Derry. 117 to 1-7. Colin Cooper is going off, by the way, and Johnny Crowley is about to come on. Big roar of approval for Johnny Crowley to come back into the Kerry team. He's a great talent. And what a substitution. What a game Cooper has played. He's been magnificent. Galvin breaks it, appeals to the referee for something. But they've had heroes and stars all over the field, Kerry, this afternoon. And they really have had the measure of Derry, but for maybe a 10-minute spell in the first half.
Yes, Jarbo won the Kerry full back line, cracked the code for the Derry full forward line, cut out the supply to Muldoon and Bradley. That they were one-dimensional, and that's the end of it. Game over after that.
McFlynn back to Gilligan again. So just a reminder of the man of the match. Will it be from Kerry? Can you pick out some Derry stars in this? They're the numbers. Remember, the reward if you are man of the match is the same as that which our panel decide upon. You ring that, you'll get tickets for the All-Ireland final, overnight accommodation, a brilliant prize. Everybody will want the tickets for Kerry versus Mayo, because that's the pairing. It's going to be a repeat of the 1997 final. Paddy Bradley lofting this one in, going for the score. It's his 5th. But it's come with only about 2.5 minutes left. Well, some of the Derry fans decide it's a long way back, and they will have enjoyed the journey through this championship. William Kirby there among the subs. Where Derry have come from, when you think hammered in Clonus by the All-Ireland champions of last year, beaten by 11 points, they regrouped. This is their 7th match of the championship, and for the second time in 3 years they've reached an All-Ireland semi-final, but haven't made it to the final. Time against them here. Bradley trying to set something up. Fergal Doherty trying to curl it. That's a good kick. Beautiful point by Fergal Doherty, the man from Bellahi, getting his first score here. And the loyal and faithful Derry fans staying on to cheer right to the very end. This is a team which they can build on for the future, as we look at Darragh O'Kane, about to be replaced by Declan Quill. Chance now for the Kerry selectors to freshen up their forward line. That's their 5th substitution, so both sides have played their full hand.
Yes, and again an indication of the strong bench they have here, because Declan Quill would be on any other senior team in the country. He's a terrific forward.
An 8-point difference as we play out the remaining couple of minutes of this game. Fergal Doherty drives it in again towards the 3-man forward line, and that time some holding, and it's going to be a free in for Derry. Again, Paddy Bradley. 5 points for the day so far, 3 of them from frees. Well, he's got a 6th. One for the record books, won't make any difference here. 7 between them. Well, among the heroes this afternoon for Kerry, their goalkeeper, okay, he didn't have goal shots to save, but his catching in the air at crucial moments and his kicks and his delivery was absolutely brilliant. 2 minutes of added time to be played. Doherty again coming, this time parrying it. And again they are very industrious in the centre with Mark Lynch. He's imposed his will on this game, Lynch, without being able to turn it around, because that would be asking an awful lot. Bradley trying to go through, feeding it back here. Again they work it into a scoring situation, and that is kicked by Conleth Gilligan.
Yes, Derry are doing quite well at midfield, and it's an indication of what a loss Darragh O'Shea will be if he doesn't survive and come back for the All-Ireland final against Mayo. Because Mayo have 2 big men at midfield.
Well, it took a while for the umpires to decide on the point for Conleth Gilligan. So when we look at the scoring chances, it's now a case of Kerry having 29 scoring chances against 25 scoring chances for Derry. Not an awful lot between them in that respect, but in terms of taking them, Kerry have taken 17 of their 29, Derry 12 of their 25. In fact, that has now moved up to 18, I should say. 18 scoring chances taken by Kerry. Conleth Gilligan enjoying this phase of the game, but it's all too late. Bradley's in late here, trying to squeeze it in. Good block, and taken out once more by Tom O'Sullivan, out by Mike McCarthy. Good body block that time by Tom O'Sullivan, got low to smother, and they get it out as far as Declan O'Sullivan. If this had been a tight game with only a point in it, that would have been a crucial intervention for Kerry by O'Sullivan. Meanwhile, breaking from the back is Aidan O'Mahony. Johnny Crowley feeding it there towards Quill. Another few seconds to go before that final whistle. There it is. Kerry have beaten Derry in the second of the Bank of Ireland All-Ireland football semi-finals at Croke Park. And they've had a good lead at the end. Even though Derry were spirited for the last 10 minutes, it was way too late at that stage. Many Kerry heroes. And their inside forward line in particular was very much on song. And goalkeeper Diarmuid Murphy did his bit. Some great catches along the way. And it's going to be a Kerry versus Mayo All-Ireland final. The champions from Connacht against the champions from Munster. No qualifiers getting through, no backdoor systems unlike the hurlers. And the full-time score at Croke Park is Kerry 117, Derry 111. Let's go down to the sideline immediately then and join Marty Morrissey.
Done a very good performance, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, Derry really put it up just the first half, Marty, and they played a lot of good football, and the goal really sparked them to life there after 10 or 15 minutes. But, you know, we felt we were in a good position at half-time. We were lined up despite the fact that we hadn't played great. That O'Shea was a big loss for us around the middle of the field, and you know, just in the dressing room at half-time we regrouped and we said that, you know, our two great players over the last couple of years, Darragh O'Shea was injured and Seamus Moynihan wasn't his street clothes, so a lot of fellas would have to step up to the mark. And I think they did that in the second half. A lot of fellas expressed themselves and showed great leadership and enthusiasm there in the second half.
Derry at times put it up to you. They were physically very strong in key areas, but this Kerry team seems to have been changed over the last couple of months. I'm sure that's down to you.
Well, I don't know who it's down to, Matty. It's down to the players. There's a lot of resilience in the team. We'd like to think that there's a lot of heart, a lot of spirit and togetherness in the team, and I think we showed that at times there in the second half. We tackled unbelievably well, turned over a lot of ball and came out well with it. But, you know, it's only semi-final, Matty. There's no silverware given out today, and, you know, great to be in an Ireland final, but bit of work to be done.
I spoke to Seamus Moynihan and had a quick word with Darragh as well, both injured. Considering the team performance without those two great players, you must be confident of the match against Mayo.
Well, I've been telling the players that, you know, the day will come we'll have to play without the two of them, and I've been preparing them for that all the year. You know, there's a chance Seamus to be back, you know, in contention for the final. He's got the all clear to his own training, and I don't know the extent of Darragh's injury, but we'll need all our men on board from Mayo. You know, Mayo have come through the tough route. The replay will have brought them on, but, you know, we feel if we play our football that will be a match for them.
Well done, Jack O'Connor. Congratulations. Congratulations to Kerry. Let's go back to Michael Lester.
Marty, thank you very much indeed. So Kerry there in the shot doing their warm down after that match. And once again, they will have to go into training for an All-Ireland final. And you know, the interesting thing about it is just thinking about it there. You know, Darragh O'Shea went off injured. They don't have Seamus Moynihan. Mike Frank Russell came on as a sub, and so on. Gooch had a little bit of a problem, obviously, in the second half there, although it didn't seem to affect him scoring too much. This is more of a team effort than an individual star job.
Yeah, well, I think that what Jack O'Connor has brought to Kerry is a harder edge, and that may seem strange when Paddy O'Shea was in charge. You'd think a physical approach, but I think he mentioned it himself. The amount of ball that they turned over from very good tackling was, to me, the difference between Kerry now and Kerry, say, of the past 2 or 3 years, who played beautiful football offensively, but defensively they were poor enough. And I think Jack O'Shea or Jack O'Connor's demeanour there shows, like, that this wasn't really a very stressful second half for him. There was no beads of sweat on his forehead, or he has no strain in the face. Kerry won this easy.
Or on the players either, it has to be said.
I think Kerry won the game easy. Derry got 3 or 4 points in the end to put a good look on the scoring, but Kerry at one stage scored 10 points in a row without reply from Derry.
Yeah. I tried to point this out to you at half-time, Joe. I talked about the kitchen sink, I talked about the mammoth effort and the fact that you were behind in the game. I have to be honest and say I could see this coming.
Well, I think you did say at half-time, I mean, surely when I suggested that there were 4 or 5 players that needed to be replaced urgently, and I mean, I knew that before. I mean, I didn't say it before the game. We have 4 or 5 lads who've, great workers, just not up to it at this level. But it's not as if to say we don't have them in. You said to me, surely he won't take them all off. Well, in fact, he did take them all off. But, I mean, we were both commenting, it was so disruptive for the team. Between the start of the second half and 10 minutes into the second half, he took off 5 players on 5 separate occasions. I mean, I don't know who was running up to the announcer with the pieces of paper saying, look, all right, we've decided to... I mean, obviously at half-time he had decided he was going to take them off. Why prevaricate? It was so disruptive, so that, I mean, every minute another man was coming off, another was coming on. We could have had a revolving door in the sideline. I mean, in fact, we finished with what I would reckon to be Derry's strongest side. And I think that we've got the basis for a very good side. We have an excellent midfield, a very good full-back line, 2 excellent full forwards. We've got Mark Lynch and Gerard O'Kane coming through from the minor team. I mean, Derry ought to be playing a lot better than that.
But I suppose, Joe, in fairness, like when the game is going against you, and I mean, it's not your fault if the other team are bloody good, kind of. If the game is going against you, you have to try and do something. You can't be just sitting there.
No, but these weren't surprises. I mean, everyone in Derry knows that we've had 3 or 4 lads with the best will in the world who haven't been able to perform at this level. And I mean, Damien Barton, for example, was talking about it on Wednesday night on the NTN programme, and everyone knows about that. And yet there's a refusal to accept this. And, I know it's not nice to have any sort of recriminations, but there again, that's where you need proactive leadership. I mean, if we had someone there with a bit of sense and a bit of the nous that's required, that's a very good Derry team.
I suppose, Joe, at the end of the day, like Mickey Moran has taken this team to an All-Ireland semi-final and they've lost out in the day, and I mean, some team has to win, some team has to lose. Mickey is talking to us now. He's with Marty.
Mickey Moran, thank you very much indeed for coming straight into the room here to us, to the interview room. Disappointed, I'm sure.
Well, I only came in because I want to get back to the players. They're the ones that matter most to me. Disappointed, yep. Showed well in the first half, in patches, let them back in towards half-time. They got a point ahead. We didn't perform the first 15, 20 minutes, second half. But I'm very proud of the fellas, the way they came back. They went to the end. Some of their play was magnificent, some of their fielding. They showed character, they showed a bit of guts. We just weren't going to get, we needed a goal, but the just wasn't going to come. I think their goal finished us off totally, but no excuses. I think Kerry were overall a better team, but I'm very proud of the youngsters that we had out there.
It's a team-building process, I'm sure, for you, Mickey. You must be pleased to have at least reached this All-Ireland semi-final.
I'm not pleased, Murray, because anybody that takes up sport, Gaelic football, you go to win. We came here to win, we didn't win. But having said that, I thought that towards the end the fellas showed real character, showed a wee bit of pride, and they went down fighting. And I just wish Kerry the best of luck. They beat us, and I hope they go on and win it now.
Well done, Mickey, and thank you very much. We'll let you back to your players.
Absolutely, Marty Morrissey, thank you indeed. So they came to win, as teams do, and it just didn't work out in the day. That's the way sport goes. We'll have more from the lads after the break.
Finals are final. I mean, semi-finals. Finals are final. I mean, semi-finals and finals. Like it can all happen today. We've had disappointments in the past. Mayor there before us. There's no point in playing games. I mean, it's 50-50 down the middle. We'll have a go at it and they'll have a go at it, and we'll see how it works out.
Wasn't this a very good performance, though, Derry? You weren't able to finish. Seamus Moynihan wasn't able to start. There's a lot of talent here.
I think Seamus has passed it anyway.
I'm glad he can't hear this interview.
No, and a lot of the lads, a lot of the lads are getting credit. A lot of the younger lads coming through. I mean, there's new lads coming through. There's new blood coming through the whole time in the team, and they're pushing. They're pushing it on now, and they're pushing the older fellas on, as well. And there's a lot of younger fellas that are leading the team now at the moment. That's good for everyone. I mean, you've leaders all over the field, and that's what it takes. That's what it takes in the modern game to push it on.
Dara, always a pleasure, and thank you very much for doing the interview. Well done.
Yeah, they have televisions in the dressing rooms here, by the way, in Croke Park, so hopefully that it wasn't switched on from Darrag's point of view. He clearly doesn't trust, given the rivalry between Dublin and Kerry over the years, he clearly doesn't trust the Dublin hospitals. Mind you, you trust a couple of the Dublin players to play golf with the other day.
That's right. Well, he has Jerry McIndy in the matter, as it was a Mead doctor. He'd look after him very well. Yeah, we had that successful Dublin Classic. I think that the Dublin team of the 70s do great work for charity. They've used their status to you know, elevate their names to a position where they can raise a lot of money, and they do it for charity. And I was lucky enough, ended up on the winning team, carried by Pascal and Shane Taggart and Martin Ryan, and the non-playing captain Terry Crooney, a lifelong Dublin supporter who's, like any good accountant, had a good pencil for marking the card.
Very good. I'm glad you enjoyed the golf, and congratulations on your win. The goal in the second half, I mean, well, Kerry didn't need it, but it was, it was another nail.
No, the goal was meaningless. I mean, Derry lost momentum so dramatically in the first 10 minutes of the second half, and I mean, I know I've already made the point, but taking off 5 players on 5 separate occasions, I mean, I don't know how the team couldn't lose momentum, and by the time we had sort of managed to regroup, it was all over. It was bad work by the... I mean...
A question of steps, bad work by the goalie.
Too many steps, bad work by the keeper, but I suppose in the context of the fact that it was meaningless, did it really matter that much?
Wasn't going to change the result, you think, at that stage?
No, and I mean, I think it was a wee bit harsh on the full back line, who, while the game was tight and while Derry were competing, the full back line were terrific, and in the first half of the Kerry full forward line was locked up, and it was only when the thing opened up. I mean, it's just a pity the way things have worked out, but I mean, you would genuinely have to be proud of the effort of the players, and I mean all of the players, even the fellows who I don't believe are good enough to be in the team, because every game that they've played since the Wicklow game, they've really put their backs into it, and they played with great passion and pride. And I suppose at the end of the day, I mean, I can sit here and pontificate about Mickey Moran and complain, but you know, if they're doing their best, what else can they do, really?
And they did, and as you said, they restored their pride through the summer.
Yeah, and
but we can do more than that, that's the point.
Their midfielders were excellent. I thought their two midfielders were excellent from start to finish. Fought hard, fielded well, drove forward, and never gave up.
You know, been all year, Colin.
Kerry are in a good position. Like, they've Darragh O'Shea and Seamus Minan to come back. They've Russell. They have, you know, Hassett and Kirby there. They've a lot of fellas looking for their position for this final. The competition in training will be really good for the next month in Kerry. If they're able to score 117 in the final, they'll win that one too.
Yeah, if they're able to score 117, Mayo obviously will have ideas about that. Looking at the two teams, and we've seen them close up this weekend.
Teams that have been able to beat Kerry are teams like Tyrone and Armagh, who've been able to take them on defensively all over the pitch and play exceptionally at the very top of their game. I mean, Tyrone, I mean, I know I've slagged them a lot over the last week, but the truth is they're an exceptional side. I mean, exceptional work rate, all very good footballers with a few real stars in there. I mean, that's the sort of team that'll beat Kerry. And I just don't know, having watched Mayo in the 2 games against Fermanagh, whether they've got that sort of quality.
The one thing that has to be on the agenda for Mayo coming up here to this All-Ireland final, they've been here a couple of years ago. They were here twice. They're actually here 3 times if you take the replay into account, and went away with nothing. That has to be at the back of John Mahon's mind for a start anyway, and their own minds. No point coming to an All-Ireland final and losing another one.
Yeah, I suppose John Mahon is an unlucky manager. Like, you know, Napoleon, when he was asked about a general, give me a lucky one, you know, and maybe Jack O'Connor is a lucky manager. He's after winning a league in his first stint with Kerry, and now he has them in the All-Ireland final. And it would be ironic that after all the work that Paddy did and all the great displays that they gave under him, that maybe Jack O'Connor was around when Kerry maybe aren't at their best, because this is one of the All-Irelands. I don't think there has been great quality this year. No. Matches have been close, they've been very interesting, they've been intense, you know, crowds have loved it, but like, we should never mix up quality for entertainment. And at the moment all the teams are about level. It's like the horses in the Derby. If they all finish in a heap, they're not all brilliant. So I think we, you know, 20 years ago we had brilliant teams. Kerry beat everybody off the pitch, nobody wanted to see it. So it's much better now.
Alright, gentlemen, the crowd has gone home. It's very lonely here in Croke Park. Better let you guys go home as well. Thank you very much this afternoon. Well, you know, it was looking good for Derry in the first half. Their determined effort to unsettle the Munster champions seemed to be working, but not for the first time. Kerry were just toying with this. The Kingdom will come again for the All-Ireland final.
back next year. We had the team, we had the management, we had the underage. Coming back next year, we had the team, we had the management, we had the underage players. But guaranteed, we'll be back here next year in Ulster Championship.
Very good in the second half. And we'll win the All-Ireland now. We just didn't have the firepower to match Kerry today. Kerry were the better team, but we just have to look for another day.
Had to just go to win it, like, by whatever. We just settled for 1 point, so happy enough with 6. So we'll take that. We'll have another day out anyway out of them, so that's just what it's all about, like.
Coming up, analysis from this afternoon's game with Anthony and Kevin, and the Man of the Match award from today's meeting. So do stay with us. Welcome back. Kevin, were you impressed by that Kerry performance?
I think, Pat, you'd have to be impressed by the Kerry performance. I mean, they put away 117 in a semi-final. It's a very, very good score to get. They started reasonably well. Like, they did hit a bit of black ice, there's no doubt about that, when Muldoon goal, but they reacted awfully strong to it. I think they reeled off 10 points in a row between the end of the first half, beginning the second half. They got an 11-point lead at one stage. They went home then, and Derry got a few consolation scores. So I was quite impressed by.
You're not overhyping them. You're not putting Mayo.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, they're the facts of the matter. Yeah. It was very similar to the Dublin quarter-final in many ways, in that there was a tight period, and then came out to the second half and really blew Derry away. I felt the Derry performance never lived up to what I thought it was. I thought they'd make it a bit closer, but just didn't happen for them.
Anthony, this morning in the hotel I met a very prominent Tyrone player. He was at the Fermanagh match yesterday, and I was asking, was he going to Derry game? He says no, he was going home because he said Derry are no use, Kerry will hammer them. So how did they get to an All-Ireland semi-final?
Well, I think there are a number of factors as to why Derry progressed as far as they did. We said it before, they got a reasonably handy draw in the qualifiers, and as a team they improved steadily throughout the championship. And the other thing is that Derry have a number of top quality players, particularly in Enda Muldoon and Paddy Bradley, who were producing good displays to get them, and they were there on merit. There's no doubt about that. Unfortunately today, I think the game really did pan out as a lot of people had expected. If Derry were going to win, there were so many things that had to go in their favour today, and it just didn't happen. We needed big displays from all the key players. The main concern was the Derry attack. Were Derry going to be able to score enough to threaten Kerry? And that didn't happen today, and if you don't score,
I think that was one of the worst half-forward lines I've ever seen in an All-Ireland Championship semi-final. Would that be fair?
No, I think you're probably a little bit harsh, Pat. The Derry half-forward line has struggled a wee bit this year. The three of them were replaced today. They work extremely hard, and they're playing in a system that has been devised by management in isolating the three inside men. And it's a very, very difficult position to play, but we could have done with them producing better displays and contributing more in a scoring sense.
Speaking of forwards, you wouldn't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that forwards win matches. Kerry had them in abundance today, Kevin.
They had, and I suppose the disquieting thing from a Mayo point of view is they had them in the subs bench as well. I picked out a few clips of them. Here's Gooch here. Look at this lovely bit of work here. Lovely drag back hop, and he gets that on his left, and indeed on his right, Pat. It doesn't matter. He's going to score. Once he gets space, they're dangerous. And I like the way they were running in pretty straight lines and supporting the passer all the time. This is the Galvin point again. You'll see how much time he has. Even his time to lose the ball when he brings it in close to the Derry zone. And there he is. And not a noted scorer indeed, but even he was able to clip one over the bar. But they have this lovely rangy movement. They support the play very well. Even their half-backs were excellent. Here's Brosnan teaming through. He's gone to midfield now at this stage and banging a bomb over the bar. Here's Tomas O'Shea on the ball. Now just watch the way he supports the play here. Gets it out wide, as you should always do. Follows the play. Lovely clip inside. Well, that's a difficult angle for a right footer. That's an excellent score for him. This is the score of the game. Like, this is unmarked. You just can't mark this sort of stuff. Fabulous foot pass. Cage out in front. And there's Mike Frank Russell. Shooting inside. But he's going to do that all day when you give him that space. And the movement was terrific. Certainly from a Mayo perspective, when it comes to final time, that's the sort of movement you have to have at this level. No, you can't. And when they play at that type of speed and that accuracy, it's still very, very difficult to mark.
Anthony, Derry came with a plan. It was the long ball into the full forward line, and it looked like working for a while.
Yeah, it did. Derry got off to a poor start. There were 4 or 5 down.
Here we see them.
You see the 3 men isolated inside, and the idea was to get long, early ball in on top of Enda Muldoon. He's very, very. We saw his ability to win the ball, but here he was tremendous.
Poor defence, though.
He was surrounded by 3 Kerry players, and the finish was.
That's poor defending. That's poor defending.
Next one again, it's a long diagonal ball in from Padraig Kelly, and this one landed actually on top of Paddy Bradley. There's a lot to do. The ball breaks and he sockets it over the bar on his weaker foot. But that was the tactics, and it did work.
So,
but
so what went wrong? So
well, there was a while where I felt that we needed Enda Muldoon underneath those high balls and not Paddy Bradley. There were times when I think it would have been better even to have withdrawn Johnny Bradley and left just Enda Muldoon and Paddy Bradley inside. But things started to go wrong, I think, in the second half.
So you've picked out a few bits of why you felt the plan failed.
Yeah, I think as well as the Kerry defence tightened up quite a bit in the second period. But there's a free kick in good position. First half that was being bombed in on top of the full forward line. It was kicked into space. Here another ball which should have been going on high on top of Muldoon was really kicked away.
It was very predictable, Anthony, wasn't it?
Yeah, the other thing was when it didn't work there was no real plan B. There's no alternative to the longer ball for there to get scores. Fergal Doherty wins another ball, kicks it in nice and early and low. That's what you want as a forward. And that on force there.
First touch
yeah,
forward there.
Would you have to say that the Kerry full back line also improved considerably?
They did.
They tightened up.
Yeah, and they broke the ball away nicely from the Derry forwards.
Now, Anthony, I'm not too sure whether you're clutching at straws, but you have a query over whether Declan Sullivan's goal should have been disallowed or not. We'll have a look at it.
Well, ultimately, it probably didn't have any bearing on the outcome of the game, but it really finished it as a contest. I think once Kerry got the goal, they slacked off. But
it's a question of steps, is it?
Yeah. Well, Sean Marty lets him inside him, which he'd be disappointed about. But after he kicks that second hop, he count the steps there. I think he kicks the ball in his 8th step.
What do you think, Kevin?
I think he's taking baby steps, Anthony.
It doesn't matter if the baby steps. Giant steps are still steps.
There's no mention of baby steps being excused in the rules.
He's breaking through a tackle there.
He's breaking through a tackle,
but
so
it's either a foul,
penalty,
or
I would say,
carrying.
you know, in other circumstances, if Kerry weren't so far ahead, the referee might have had a good talk with his umpires. I think they were just out of sight at that stage.
You're not looking for a replay or anything like that?
No, as I say, Pat, it was academic at that stage.
Actually, Joe Brawley made a point. He said there's a basis for a very good team here in Derry. Is he gone off his rocker, or is there something there that I didn't spot?
Joe's been off his rocker for a long time.
Yeah, I thought that actually.
But no, he's right. You know, Derry are a decent side. They have a number of excellent players. We're just a little bit short, a wee bit short in the half forward line, as already mentioned. Defensively, wing halves, again, one of them replaced today, struggled a wee bit. I think the players, there's no doubt they're in Derry. It's a matter of now trying to build on what's been done this year and giving the Ulster Championship a good hard push next year.
Kevin, they were 6th in Division 2B this year, Derry. Were they punching above their weight?
Well, you see, you have to commend them for the journey they've made. You know, Anthony referred to it earlier on. Okay, the qualifiers, you get a lucky break in the qualifiers. You have to make your own breaks too in the qualifiers. It's a long, lonely, rocky journey. And they got here, as far as I'm concerned, they got here on merit to the semi-final. When they've come up with, you know, there's no doubt about it.
They were found out today.
Well, yeah, because the Kingdom are one of the best teams in the country, and Derry are not one of the best teams in the country. They might be in the top 8, 9, 10, I suppose. That's where I'd see them.
Anthony, we'll give you, as a Derry man, we'll give you the honour tonight of telling us who you felt were contenders for man of the match and eventually telling us who you chose as man of the match.
Well, I think on the Derry side, I think that, you know, given the supply of ball that Muldoon and Bradley received, I thought they both battled well. For me, the Derry midfield pairing were outstanding. You know, we're talking now about the dying art of high fielding within Gaelic football, and those two fellas put on an exhibition today. But given the result, that, you know, it's inevitable that the man of the match is going to come from Kerry. I thought that Paul Galvin had his best game for Kerry in the championship. His work rate was tremendous, kicked a great point. Up front, Mike Frank did well when he came on. Colin Cooper throughout was a constant thorn in the Derry side. Well, the general consensus amongst the panellists was that Tomás O'Shea was the best player on the pitch today. I think not only today but all year in Moynihan's absence, he's the one that has shown genuine leadership, and he drives them forward time and time again. There he's a fantastic shoulder tackle, dispossesses James Donaghy, and saunters up the pitch, driving his team forward.
Yeah, he has scored outstandingly well from wing back as well. Don't forget that, Pat. He's contributing on the scoreboard regularly for Kerry.
This is a wonderful point. Outside of the bit, from the wrong side, you know.
And he's a lot of skill and ability. Sometimes we overlook because he's an O'Shea and we think he's up in your face and he's aggressive. But he's a wonderful footballer as well. He's a huge asset on the half-back line.
And he was magnificent for the Gaeltacht all year as well in the quest.
He was deserving man of the match, no question.
Today when they needed him, he was there and he drove them forward.
So our man of the match, Tomás O'Shea. Well, let's hear now from today's man of the match winner who spoke to us after the game.
Tomás, congratulations. Well done. I'm sure you're relieved to be back in the All-Ireland final of 2004.
Yeah, it's nice after the disappointment of last year. It's great to get back into the final again, and we put on a good show there, but the last 10 minutes, like, we left it go again, you know, and I mean, we've still a lot of work to do. We've been getting better every game we've been playing. We played a bit better today in the first half and the second half, especially when we lost Dara, and we'll be hoping for another improvement for the final.
Well, Tomas, I'm delighted to say not only did you score 2 points today, but you're going home with a bit of crystal. My pleasure to introduce Tim O'Neill to award you with the RTE Bank of Ireland Man of the Match Award. Tim O'Neill, Director of Branch Network Bank of Ireland. Well done.
Thanks.
Well, once again, there was a huge response to our Bank of Ireland-sponsored Man of the Match competition this afternoon for a chance to win 2 tickets to this year's All-Ireland football final, plus overnight accommodation in Dublin. The winning entry is Nuala O'Connell from Ratangan in County Kildare. So congrats to you, Nuala, and enjoy the finals. Well, to the curtain raiser at Croke Park this afternoon, and Kerry's meeting with Laois in the second of this year's The attitude of many of the Mayo players. Were you happy with their attitude yesterday?
I wasn't very critical, Pat. I was a little
mildly
critical. No, I did criticise some of the attitude, but you know, I feel it was, you know, like we always do here, it's constructive.
Yes.
There's no question Mayo came to the game complacent last week. You heard Charlie Mulgrew there say they blew it last week, and there's no question about that, and you can paint that any way you want. That's the horror story that Fermanagh are going to have for the winter. From a Mayo perspective, absolutely they changed it around. You know, and I'm talking about the players and the management. They came to Croke Park with a completely different game face on them, as far as I'd be concerned, and the opening minutes indicated that to me, absolutely. Very aggressive, in your face. They were going for the ball completely differently to the week previous, and they're big players, you know, Heaney, Nallen, McGarty, the Mortimers, MacDonald. They were going for everything that was going in the first 20 minutes, and that set the tone for it, and that's why Mayo won the match.
Anthony, last Sunday, a lot of people, we had a mediocre enough game last Sunday, and everyone said, oh, well, the weather conditions were very poor. Weather conditions were much improved yesterday, but the fare didn't improve considerably, did it?
No, I think overall, you know, for an All-Ireland semi-final, the quality, you know, was poor enough. The basic art of kick passing the ball was lacking. There were passages of play. It was almost like watching a game of table tennis from the Olympics. The ball was being kicked forward, away. Fellas, you know, who should at this stage of their careers and at this stage of the championship be able to deliver 40-yard kick passes to their own players. Overall, but the quality might have been down, but the excitement was there again, and it was a thoroughly enjoyable experience for the neutral.
Kevin, Mayo dominated for long spells of yesterday's game, but they made heavy weather of beating them, didn't they, of putting them away?
They did, and contributed to us themselves in a large way, and I would put that down to, you know, critical turnovers they had. Mayo had a lot of turnovers the week previous, but in this occasion they had turnovers that led directly to scores. Like, here's a lovely break by Ronan McGarty, with an excellent game for them. Look, throws it straight to a Fermanagh match. That ended up in the net at the far end for Mayo, you know, 40 seconds later. Here's Brian Maloney bringing it into contact, spills the ball, and we've lost it again in the semicircle, in the real danger zone for an attacker. Bringing out the ball nicely, straight to a Fermanagh match, or a Fermanagh player, and that ball ends over the bar again. Here's another one, straight to a... Now when you're breaking up your play and your attacks by constantly turning, I counted 32 or 3 on the tape today.
Possession is hard to so you don't want to give it away that easily.
Here's another one. This leads to the free, a critical free for Fermanagh. And load in now a few wide, maybe 13 wides again. Like, these aren't even shots. Like, Pat Kelly will look at that tonight and say, oh, sweet divine, fast forward quickly. You know, here's another beautiful pass by MacDonald. There's a tap over for young Mortimer, and he hooks that wide. Now, they're wrist-slitting wides. You know, they're killing a team. Kerry MacDonald again at a critical time, and that's why we couldn't pull away from Fermanagh. Now, Fermanagh did their best as well, by the way. They've plenty of wides from their own side.
Would you agree with that, Anthony?
Yeah, there was a stage in the game. You know, overall, I felt that, you know, Mayo had much better to play in the first half and really should have been well ahead of Fermanagh.
Yeah, the goal kind of brought Fermanagh back into it.
When the game was in the crux in the last 6 or 7 minutes, and Fermanagh were a point up, I was wondering where Mayo were going to get the equalising score out of. Who was going to step up to the plate and show the responsibility? And it's actually 2 of their defenders that did it. It was David Heaney and James Nallen that made the 2 very penetrating runs to set up the scores.
Lads, over the last 24 hours we've had 2 All-Ireland football semi-finals, obviously the best 4 teams in the country, but the fare and offer in both games was we didn't get great quality stuff. Why was this? Or would you agree with me?
No, I think it's a fair comment, Pat. I think the quality all year has been down on what we would expect.
Why was the fare over the last 2 days so poor?
Well, it's hard to you know, pinpoint it on one thing. I think.
I'd say the overpassing, Anthony, was shocking in both games.
Yeah, particularly with Mayo, I thought that, you know, there's a fine balance between possession football and overplaying the ball.
Why are they obsessed, all defenders and goalkeeper, with trying to walk the ball out of defence? I mean, there was a golden rule. You clear the ball out of danger.
Yeah, that's kind of gone out with the flood now to a certain degree. Like they're talking now, all teams are looking at their possession rates. The last thing a defender and attacker, I'm after criticising people for giving the ball away. That's the last thing they want to do is associate it with a turnover. They don't want to give away the ball. But there's a fine balance about working, 2 hand passes, get it out in the clear, long delivery.
It's kamikaze tactics, isn't it, lads?
Well, it's dangerous, there's no question about that.
You can take the good passages of play from both games where whenever the ball was moved at pace, the point that you highlighted, the Kerry point, ball kicked in early, fellas running on to it, supporting each other. The teams look ordinary when they start hand passing the ball around their own half-back line.
Is the after kicking dying out, lads?
The tackling pass, any of the teams that came up to Dublin for the quarter-finals this year, the art of tackling has improved dramatically, and everybody's working at it, and that does add to the players losing possession and having difficulty getting into the open to clear the ball by foot.
I think also the pace of Gaelic football nowadays is higher than it has been at any stage in the past. When the game is played at such an intensity and such a ferocity, people are going to make mistakes.
Okay, we'll let them off the hooks on this occasion. Lads, that brings us to we're down to the last 2 in the championship. This year's championship, Colm O'Rourke was asked today, and he was a bit wishy-washy in his comments. He wasn't over-enamoured with this year's championship. He said one should never mix up quality with entertainment. That was his assessment of this year's championship. Your assessment? Agree? Disagree?
Well, I think the semi-finals were indicative of what we've witnessed so far throughout the championship. I think it has been, in a footballing sense, it has been poor enough, but the entertainment value has been good. You've witnessed the breakthrough of new teams, Fermanagh and Westmeath coming to the fore. It's great to see. But
did that mask the fact that there was poor football being played? No.
Possibly. I think the other thing, Pat, is that some of the teams that we would have earmarked at the start of the year as being potential All-Ireland contenders, the likes of Tyrone and Armagh and Galway, and these teams that you'd expect to be in the competition at this time of the year, when they're not there, maybe the standard isn't what it would be if they were present.
Kevin, I know this is the case. People have said this is the case of the kettle calling the pot black, and it probably is, but they'll say analysts are all cranks and you can't keep them happy, and you're looking for the perfect game, and the perfect game doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, you see, from my point of view, every championship has its own unique story to tell. The story of the championship this year has been the emergence of new teams and some of the compelling contests we had, from late on in the qualifiers up to the quarter-finals. Like, there were some huge crowds in Croke Park, great contests. It does mask to a degree, but we all look back, of course. You think your own era was fantastic. Look at some of the old tapes some night, Pat, and you'll see some of the 70s and 80s.
Fair point, yeah.
Excuse me. And you'll see that, the standard of foot passing and hand passing was well up there, ranking, with any of the bad days.
So, Anthony, your highlight from the year?
Well, for me, the most impressive display in this year's championship came from Armagh in the Ulster final against Donegal. Coming into it with a team that has been on the go for a number of years, and that day they just completely blew Donegal away. A team that had toppled the All-Ireland champions Tyrone, a team that people were talking as potential contenders for the All-Ireland, and that day Armagh were awesome in all departments. Their tackling, their intensity, their work rate, their scoring, everything that you want in Gaelic football came from Armagh that day.
Did they peak too soon?
In hindsight, yes, there's no doubt that they were not able to get the standard of their play up to the level that they showed on that occasion.
Kevin, your highlights from the championship of 2004?
Well, again, every championship has, many highlights. Certainly one of the earliest ones I had, Pat, was when I went up to Ulster for one of the early rounds and see the Tyrone team come out without their captain and, his jersey retired. It was a very poignant moment in the championship for me, certainly, and I'm sure for many, many people. But life has to go on, and Cormac's team, got themselves into a great position along with Armagh, great favourites for it. Then we saw Armagh with the perfect performance. Looked like All-Ireland champions in the draw up to, and the meet for Fermanagh on Seismic Saturday, as Marty, I think, called it. And lo and behold, it's neck and neck, and you're thinking, if Fermanagh can't win this game, if it ends up a draw, there's no way they're going to win it. And the next thing, they break out, and every Fermanagh man, I suppose, and woman and child on their feet. The ball is work left. I'm up in the stand with Marty saying, come on, Garda, get it over. And there it is, the favourites for the All-Ireland gone. It was a fantastic moment for Tom Brewster personally, and for the whole of Fermanagh. Like, they are the story of the year, there's no question about it.
So, lads, that brings us to the final. A repeat of 97, Kerry Mayo. What do you make of it, Anthony?
Well, I don't think, if the truth be told, that Mayo are ever going to get a better chance to win an All-Ireland than they have in 2004. I think that Kerry are beatable. I think if they go on to win the All-Ireland without the input of their best player, Seamus Moynihan, that's suggesting one of two things to me about this year's championship. It's either saying that Kerry are a fantastic side, which I don't think they are, or it's saying that the standard of competition has been poor, and I think the latter is the case. And I say Mayo have a great chance, but I think the better overall quality is within the Kerry side, and I think it's going to take a big improvement in Mayo. They struggled in the latter stages of both games against Fermanagh, to get the necessary scores, and I think if Kieran MacDonald's marked and marshalled the way he was in the first day against Fermanagh, they're going to struggle, and I would just give a hesitant vote of confidence to Kerry.
Kevin, it's a repeat of 97. You'll be hoping for a different result this occasion?
Yeah, 97, for whatever reason, on my recall of it, is that we were very, very confident of winning it, I suppose, based on the 96 games against Meath. This year's final, obviously we're going in as underdogs after the weekend's results. I know you.
Who said that?
I did. And I think again, finals will weave their own pictures, and for sure. Mayo have it all to do from my perspective. I was disappointed that we didn't put away Fermanagh better. It tells me that we weren't as good as we felt we were after the Tyrone game. We were overrated both locally and nationally to a certain degree. But it being a final, Mayo will get wired up for it. There's no question. They're 4 weeks to get ready for it. If they can produce a performance of Tyrone-esque proportions, right, and a little bit more subtlety in attack, I think they will have a great chance. It's perfectly set for them. They have a new team. They showed a lot of resilience over the last few weeks.
Greater maturity.
They have, yeah. They're a better side, to my way of thinking, than that mid-90s team. They're more threat, but they need to be a bit more subtle about their angles and their approach from an offensive point of view. If they get that right, if the luck that has deserted us in past times comes home to us, you never know.
So you're going for?
I'm going for... It's been far too early to call. I'll wait and see what happens on the injury and form front. We're 4 weeks away from it. I couldn't possibly go for anybody at this stage.
Gentlemen, thank you very much tonight. Well, that's where we have to leave it for tonight, but let me remind you that we're back in 2 weeks' time for the All-Ireland hurling finals, live here on the Sunday Game. Well, early last May, 33 teams started out, but now it's down to just 2. On September the 26th, Mayo and Kerry will battle it out for football's most precious prize. Good night.
The journey continues for Kieran MacDonald and Mayo.
Hale the Chief heading him down towards the last two, still